Welcome everyone to Mega8. I didn't lie when I said we'd be back soon, and we are back again with a vengeance here at the Winter Cup. And this time, we're doing my favorite game, Dota 2. And of course, we're in one of the greatest venues that you can be, the Mega8 studios here at Urban Brew. Looking pretty wonderful. And of course, I'm not alone. I have, of course, my faithful cohort, Prophecy, welcome.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Been away a while, but should be a good game.
Yeah, great to have you. And of course, Snare, it's been a while since we worked together,
It's been a while.
actually.
Yeah, I've been on hiatus. I've been in the mountains training, but basically for this moment. So now I'm back in action for this.
Is that where the crazy hair came from?
That's where the crazy hair came from, man. I was inspired by old kung fu movies, and this was the only way I could go.
Right, well, looking forward to it. And of course, a man who needs no introduction, former champion here at Mega8, in fact, Donnie, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it's been a while since I've really been part of the SA scene, so I'm excited to, get back into it in a different way.
All right, so I mean, I'm sure there are many that are curious. What have you actually been up to in the last little while?
Just grinding rating, honestly, trying to get somewhere in Europe with the team, but obviously I've been shot down a lot for various reasons. Russians being very temperamental, or just people saying that I can't be in a competitive team with 200 ping, or I'm not 8K. It's just a box of reasons.
Right, okay. Well, glad to see you working on it. Well, what is your MR these days? You couldn't tell us.
I think it's like 6'9" or 6'8" at the moment.
Oh, so you're not even 7K?
I was for like
Man,
a brief
disappointing. I mean, you got to fly that SA flag pretty high, guys. Anyway, so obviously, as I mentioned, this is of course a ongoing thing. We actually have been, in fact, having a couple of these Mega8 competitions. Starting back last year, where we had the first ever Mega8 competition. Obviously, that one was Dota 2 as well. And fairly recently, the Autumn Cup, which everyone seems to mispronounce the Awesome Cup, and I'm okay with.
It was pretty awesome.
It was pretty awesome.
It was pretty awesome, yeah. We got to see some new Dota basically there. It was amazing to see actually.
Well, CSGO being the new Dota.
Well,
yeah. I mean, there's a fair comment. I mean, I think this year has sort of been the year of the CSGO, where in the past, I think Dota 2 has sort of reigned supreme. We've sort of had a good year for CSGO so far, but man, let's be honest here, right? It's good to have some Dota in the spotlight.
Yes.
We're getting a little bit more action, so that's great. And then, of course, that leaves us with to where we are now at the Winter Cup. So I guess just pointing out, there's a lot to come, guys. This is not something that's going away anytime soon. Mega8 is here to stay, and this is going to be, this particular event is going to be pretty exciting. We have some pretty interesting teams that are playing, and under pretty interesting circumstances. So I want to throw this over to you, gentlemen. We, of course, have had a new patch out for about a week now. How do you think the team is going to sort of respond after the last week of having an opportunity to check it out?
I mean, I think for the moments they're pretty much just, or at least the meta teams like WRG and the other top teams, at least following the international scene, and having their strong heroes align with that meta. They will be picking, according to the international scene. But then you'll get the teams that maybe they don't have an Earth Spirit player, they don't have a Phoenix player, they don't have a Sven carry player for some reason, you know what I mean? And they'll probably just pick what they feel most comfortable with. But I definitely think the teams that are like following pro team will pick the Svens, the Phoenixes, the Slardars, the Darkses, the stuff that's been going on.
Yeah, likely we'll see something like a Castaway Queen of Pain a couple of times this weekend at least. If it's not banned, I'm pretty certain I'll try and at least grab it for him and see what he can do or not.
and I think we'll also probably see teams playing a little bit less aggressively, given that the first 5 minutes of the game, Shrine isn't available anymore. So especially in the offlane, we're going to see a lot more conserve play. We might even see some teams trying to punish that by being more aggressive, running more aggressive tri lanes, more very aggro do lanes with a lot of roaming. So probably a lot of more vision heroes, spirit breakers, that kind of thing are going to come up a lot this weekend.
Yeah.
And we were chatting about Spirit Breaker earlier today, actually. I mean, you guys were mentioning you think it's one of the big heroes at the moment. What's the reason for that, behind that?
It just puts a lot of pressure on the game, actually. We were talking about that and like heroes like Batrider, which is also a very hot pick at the moment. So it's heroes that from the moment, Bara goes on from level 1, like he's charging everywhere. So he's got earlier pressure than Batrider, I suppose. Batrider's obviously going to farm his blink. But from level 6, I think both those heroes, they're everywhere around the map looking for pickoffs. And yeah, that's what makes them strong.
It's locked on through BKB as well. Bara obviously provides the bash through BKB, which is like ridiculous. If you get a good chain bash, it can just win a whole team fight for you.
And we still say on the Warlock. I mean, in the past week or so in the South African scene, we've seen Warlock pretty much reign supreme. Do we expect the same thing here at Mega8?
I'm not sure. I think the hero kind of has been figured out for the most part. I think we'll probably see a Warlock from the worst teams. The team that's finished, let's say, the sixth lowest, will probably pick a lot more Warlock than the top teams. I think the top teams between each other know how to play against Warlock, and it has a couple of weaknesses. You only team fight once in a while with the hero. Now, the tempo of this meta is really so much faster than it used to be. You have to be able to fight much more often. We'll probably still see Warlock, but it's not going to be an every game situation. We'll probably see some games it's not even going to be picked or banned, and no one's going to care that much.
I think like Warlock will be picked up when especially against melee carries, like Sven, for example, I think it's great. Like, the fact is that the Solo, that Russian player, you go 2 in the hill, you go Fatal Bonds, and you go the slow, right? So you max the slow, and then in team fight, Sven, pre-BKB, he's just getting kited around, and that's what makes, the slow is actually the good. It's not really the Fatal Bond's also great, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, the slow is going to win the early fights, and then once you got the rock plus Fatal Bonds, it can just pop the whole fight before the fight even starts, really.
Here's the last one that I'm really interested in as well, is the Legion Commander. Also seen a lot of her, I guess. Gentlemen think that's
a lot of picks at international level, not a lot of success. I think it was yesterday something like I think they played it 9 times, 2 wins, 7 losses. So not particularly successful. We saw a lot of it last week in SA, and it was doing decently well, particularly Ian was running it to some success. I think they had 5 wins, 5 picks or something.
Lucker just kept spamming that hero, man.
It seemed to be the hero that Chelsea was working the best on, but I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one because it's got an incredibly long lockdown, but it does also kind of like remove it from a fight, and I don't know. It just seems like a very iffy hero at times.
It's definitely more situational than anything, especially now that Bat's obviously a good pickup. So people will obviously look to pick up Legion Commander against Bat, right?
Yeah.
So you can take off his ulti straight away. I mean, it's also a very strong laner. The fact that you can usually, like, okay, with the Shrine nerf, pre-Shrine nerf, it was very strong, right? You could heal and you'd have a permanent shield, and it's like ridiculous, and you could just go jungle. But obviously now it's not as strong as it was with the Shrine nerf, but I mean, I think it's still very situational there.
So, I guess the teams that are going to be handling these heroes, of course, are obviously pretty important as well. And the first teams we have up tonight, of course, are Mythic Gaming versus White Rabbit Gaming. A bit of a colossal mountain to climb for the side of Mythic.
Yes.
Yeah,
What do you gents think?
Mythic. It's 2nd week in a row that they start off their event against White Rabbit Gaming, and probably the 2nd week in a row they're going to be starting in the losers bracket for the whole thing. So, I mean, they're an up-and-coming team. They've been, bubbling under for about 6-7 months now. Decent, although, I mean, the likelihood of them winning against White Rabbit tonight, I think it's reasonable to say very, very slim. Not beyond the realms of possibility, but you're going to need a hell of a lot to go their way for that to go right.
That being said, I do think that Mythic is, given how the team operates, and especially how Sargon is behind the scenes, they're the team I think that learns the most from losses, that potentially will probably learn the most from playing against WRG. As much as it's probably the worst matchup in terms that they have to come up with something really special to be able to beat WRG, and it's probably not going to work anyway. But at the same time, I think they will learn the most from losing to WRG. Other teams might probably just take it with a grain of salt, be like, whatever, you lose to WRG, it's not that big a deal. But Mythic will get really deep into those replays and come out stronger for it.
Now,
So
I know that they do have a slight issue with regards to, they themselves have said that like sometimes there are 2 cores, Petunia and Kunchun, tend to farm a bit too much. Against White Rabbit Gaming, that's not going to happen. They just, the tempo that they play at, they're not going to give you time to farm. You have maybe the first 15 minutes, if you can't get any work done in that point, you're going to get run over by White Rabbit Gaming. Because, I mean, the thing is, since Chidawi's actually moved to the offlane, he was always like a low econ carry type thing. So like he could adapt pretty well to the offlane, and he's going to be getting in your face the whole time. So you then have Whelp and you have Castaway. Castaway likely winning mid, and Whelp is definitely winning his lane. So you can't afford to draw out a game against those two. They're just going to eat you alive as soon as they get up and running.
For sure. Like I think they've definitely got not even a slim chance. There's 0% chance to win. They're not going to win. But I think it's just a good opportunity to just see how they test, how they match up. Just to see where their individual skill is, and then see how much room they still have to grow. Because obviously they are quite a league away, right? But let's just see how far away they are.
No, definitely.
I think they could potentially win the draft though.
I think White Rabbit's going to do something similar to what the old BVD would do. Is like they'll try a funky draft because you can get away with certain things. So they'll test certain things, and like maybe it fails, but I think they're going to have a strong enough draft to probably win. Although White Rabbit could likely win, just pure on draft. I don't think they're winning the game.
I feel like White Rabbit could get owned on draft. And
like probably, but I still think it's good for, especially for up-and-coming teams. The one thing that's always usually lacking the difference in a really good team and a worse one is just drafting. And I think a team like Mythic Gaming, draft-wise, could probably, of the bottom teams, could probably beat WRG. They're the only team I could imagine beating WRG purely on the draft. Them and maybe XCC. We saw Energy beat them last week.
Actually,
after WRG twice. So
and that was the thing. And then in the second game, like Energy, in my opinion, I think they lost the draft there, and that just ended up spiraling them out of control there. So I think White Rabbit Gaming probably will lose the draft on, at least in our feelings, but they definitely win in the game. I think there's just too much individual skill on those two teams, or on that team, to drop a loss against a White Rabbit. I mean, against a a team like Mythic at this point.
I think I actually disagree with you guys. I don't think it's like important when you're like a low skill team to be good at drafting. I mean, like I feel like you got to make sure you have the mechanics to even, or just the game understanding to just play out your draft. Because you can have a good draft, but you can be 2K, and what's the point? You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah, this is true.
get the basic mechanics down, which I'm sure they do have. Like I mean, for sure. But get as good as you can mechanically, and then you can learn to have good drafts. It's like much easier to learn than grinding.
The only reason I say is that the drafting probably will be better is that like sometimes a draft can extend the game a little bit longer. Like Scans teams often like that the players that he had were probably individually weaker than some of the others, but like his draft would just drag the game another 10 minutes because it's such an annoying set of heroes that he would pick against you, and it's just a pain to get hold of.
I think that's where we're both coming from. I remember with Scant, I used to be quite critical of him, almost like picking heroes that were too. Like, it wasn't that it was a bad draft, but rather that was the case that his draft was actually challenging for his team to commit to and actually pull off. And then his opponents, who were potentially like slightly weaker players, who had an easier draft, would be able to take games, in fact series off them just by playing to their own strengths. Yeah. But talking about all these players, perhaps it's time that we in fact take an opportunity to chat, or rather to see what we had to say with Kunshin from Mythic Gaming.
In my opinion, the best South African Dota player would be Schlinks from WRG. I just really like how he plays. If I could remove a hero from the hero pool, I would pick Viper, because my drafter keeps picking it for me. Who's going to win the Mega8? I would say WRG. I would say ourselves, but no hope there. we lost, man. I'm Timothy Kunshin Kun. I'm from Cape Town. I play for Mythic Gaming and I play mid solo.
Well, interesting words from the man. Obviously not too positive about his chances in this matchup. But I think that's the thing we've spoken quite a bit about Mythic Game, is their attitude is actually quite exceptional. It's a bit of a pity that they're not going into this with this sort of, oh, let's see what we can do against White Rabbit Games. More like, okay, we're probably going to lose. But I guess at some point you also have to consider like, how realistic it is. And I mean, we were chatting about this, before these games. Just about like your attitude going into might be trying to win these micro battles. Like how far can we go in the laning phase? What can we learn from these matches? So, gents, what's step one? What is the first thing these guys would want to take out of these matches?
I think the main thing, every time I see a team play against WRG, right, the first thing I always take away is how you have to learn how to play really fast Dota. WRG knows how to utilize their lineup from the minute go. WRG is moving. They never a stage of the game where WRG feels like they're waiting for level 6, waiting for level 8. They'll be fighting with heroes. Like I've seen Chidawi jump into engagements when it's level 3 Axe and he's like, fine, let's go. And it might seem crazy, but you're always fighting. So I think that's one thing that you can always learn from a team like WRG is how to take a draft. And even if you don't necessarily feel like you've hit your peak just yet, you're still ready to fight. You still have confidence in what you're able to do with the particular heroes and make that actually happen and translate into a laning phase win, into a mid-game win, into an overall team win. Yeah. So if they can learn that from WRG, I think that's probably the best you can do at this point.
Yeah, following on from that, I think especially the White Rabbit, follow the White Rabbit Gaming Sports is what Mythic will be doing. Their supports have tended to be a little bit inactive at times. They won't necessarily be as efficient as possible. White Rabbit is really one of the teams that is very, very good. You either have like Santo last year, he would be always active, like creating pressure. And that's the one thing that I have noticed with White Rabbit Gaming is that sometimes their supports tend to like just stand flat-footed and rather just try and hold a lane instead of trying to make something happen. A Monster, very, very good on something like his Storm, on his Earth Spirit. But he has sometimes floundered when being given other heroes. And Sargon in particular, I think sometimes very, very passive as a support, which can't really work, and especially not going to work against White Rabbit Gaming.
It's actually funny you mentioned Sargon. I was chatting to him earlier today, and of course he's in Cape Town. Obviously, for those curious, this is effectively a studio event with an online player. So obviously the player's not here on LAN. And he's back in Cape Town, had a little chat with him, saw how his flight was, that sort of thing. And then asked him how he's doing. He said, well, just getting ready to get stomped, pretty much. So obviously he's somewhat in agreement with you, I think, Prof. But perhaps a friend of ours who has played against the side before, what if you were sort of coaching Mythic right now, what would your sort of words of wisdom be going into this one?
You're gonna lose the game. Just go practice more. they're gonna lose the game. They just need to figure out. They need to figure out how to be more. They're gonna lose basically the efficiency battle, right? That WRG's supports are going to do much more in the early game. Obviously, WRG's cores are much stronger in lanes, so they've just got to maybe try and see what WRG did better than supports-wise. I think it's honestly going to come down to supports. Supports are going to make WRG's life like super easy.
Yeah.
Schlinks is a genius.
Slinks is actually a genius, especially at dewarding. Every time, I'm always amazed by how much Slinks can do to the enemy to the enemy safe lane just off of dewarding. He'll create a situation for you where you don't feel safe going into your own side of the jungle because there's 3-4 heroes messing off the map, and also you have no vision of your own jungle. Suddenly, you have to keep you have to keep both your supports locked around your safe laner because you can't move around. Then your mid lane is now exposed to be ganking as well as the off lane, and you can't do anything. A lot of the times you'll see situations where the enemy feels choked simply because WRG's removed all the vision. Even after WRG will lose a fight, you can't approach their side of the map because you just don't know where anybody is. So I think Donnie's right. That's the main thing that allows WRG to function as they do. Just immaculate vision control, their support movements. You always feel in danger whenever you're in a situation up against WRG, especially your mid laners, because they know that you're already losing to Castaway 1v1, and there's always a potential for someone to come and gank you, and then you die and lose even harder. So I think that's the main thing that we're going to have to take care of.
It's interesting you say that because I think we've seen WG quite happy to pick their solo mid generally quite early, and they get the disadvantage in that lane. They pick that Ember Spirit in, we see that Shadow Fiend come out, and they're just like, it's cool because we'll have a support sort you out anyways, and then we'll give an opportunity to Castaway to get back into the game at a later stage.
Which wasn't the game, was it Depi SF against Castaway?
Yeah,
Ember Spirit.
Depi did quite well, I think. Like obviously it's like a favorite. He also had Clock Souls, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he did.
I mean,
he
he
did the cheese.
owned the lane. I was holy shit. Like, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. I think it's important as well that we mention that there is, of course, 2 streams that are available to our viewers tonight. Of course, the main stream we will be watching, as it is obvious, Mythic versus White Rabbit Gaming. But for those of you who like something a little bit more blue, there'll be Bravado Gaming versus Sinister 5 on our second stream. Definitely a game worth watching as well. Let's take a quick moment just to go over those 2 teams. I mean, obviously, since 5-1, we don't know too much about. Bravado, a little bit absent from the scene for a while.
Yeah, Bravado is actually the old XD team that played in the DGC last year. It was a bit of an odd one. They looked very, very good last year. Actually came third at the first Mega8 event. Were regularly one of the teams that could actually challenge White Rabbit Gaming and Bravado last year as well. And seemed very, very strong. Coming into this year, they swapped to the Bravado brand. And from what I understand, it's swapping up players to different positions and all the rest. It seems to have ruined the synergy of the whole team. They're looking a lot worse than they should be, and they're just not playing to the same level that they were last year. So I think what position are they currently sitting on the log in DGC? It's something like sixth or something. Yeah, it's like much less or much lower than you'd expect, given the pedigree that the team has and the players on the team. So I don't know, maybe a couple of internal divisions there, but I think starting against Sin 5 should be enough to get them rolling, and then it's just really if they can keep that going, because not as potent as they have been before, even with that team.
I mean, what Sin 5 is like the new kids on the block, right? And Bravado, the XD, they've been around for years. They're not exactly new, even though they have a new brand. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see these guys that we never really see in tournaments.
Yeah.
I think, though, the one thing about Sinister 5 versus BVD, Sin 5 is, like Donnie mentioned, they're the new kids on the block, but that gives them a little bit of an edge. None of the other teams here will really have been studying their draw, studying the way they move around the map, studying their ward position. So they can actually come out of here and blow everybody out of the water with just a surprise Dota. Can be that situation where if you don't know what you're playing against, then you might not necessarily have a plan to beat it. And also, BVD haven't actually looked super strong for a while. They went from being honestly one of the, I would have said there was a point where there was either them or WRG as the best team in SA. But now, I think the role swap really hurt them, like in a tremendous way.
It's like completely buggered the synergy on the team. And Sin 5, I mean, they have a chance. Like, it's a small chance, but they have a chance because the way that we've been seeing BVD play, it hasn't looked good. It's like ugly wins that they get. They don't look great in losses either. And it's not what you'd expect from that team in particular. And you're going up against Sin 5. Sin 5, as far as I remember, has been a team that's been together relatively long. So maybe they haven't been fiddling with anything. Maybe they can spring a surprise. But I still think it's going to be a tall order. You have to go through some very, very good players on BVD to actually win there.
What was interesting was when I was chatting to the Mythic players recently, they were suggesting that their drafting phase, generally what is actually steal Sin 5 drafts, because they have apparently like quite a high mark coach apparently that they work with. So I'm pretty interested to see what they can deliver up against the big boys. I mean, they're They don't have a bad seed, actually. I think they're sort of seeded 5th or 6th or something like that.
Yeah, I think they actually went 3. I think it was 3-2 or no, 3-1. I can't remember. They had a relatively good seed coming into this, and I was like pretty surprised. But it might have also just been, unfortunately, that is one problem with Swiss is that if you don't effectively rank the teams before going into the Swiss system, you can get some very, very lucky run through it, or you can get a very terrible one.
I mean, mentioning we've always seen some sort of surprises here at Mega8. I mean, in the CS:GO, we didn't see XTC. This time, of course, it would be pretty terrifying if XTC weren't here.
Yeah.
But of course, they have qualified. But this time, no Pulse.
I mean, it's funny that you say like they have a good seed, but I mean, then they're playing Bravado, right? Yeah. It's like, is it a good seed? It's just like that just shows that there's 8. Okay, there's like 6 or 7 good teams here, or 6 really good teams, and then 2 that are trying to like breach those 6 teams. You know what I mean? So it's like even if they got a good seed, it's like they don't want to play APG, they don't want to play Bravado, they don't want to play XT, they don't want to play Energy, they don't want to play WLG.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, it's like it's rough for them either way. Like,
Yeah. I mean, like Danny was saying, the best thing you can do is the likelihood is you're going to lose, right? But what you want to do is you want to look at what the opponents did to actually get to that point. You really want to study.
Lose, I think I'm rooting for
2-1.
Sinister 5. I'm
Yeah.
rooting for it. I'm rooting for them.
I actually think
I'm an underdog kind of guy.
I think they can actually beat Bravado. Sinister
I think they can beat them. I
Wait,
just don't
is
think
this
they
happening?
will.
Is this happening, right? So you're telling me on this panel, we're talking about Bravado Gaming,
Yes.
right? Literally one of the finest, possibly the finest MGO in the South African scene. I mean, definitely up there, right? With a group of players we've never seen before, and we have a panel here suggesting that they all think, and because I'm with you guys, right? That Sinister 5 might just do this.
The thing is, for me, the reason I say this, I watched a lot of their practices, Sinister 5, and I've cast a lot of their games coming up to just now at this point in time. So I've gotten to see how they've improved, and I haven't been watching them as much in the last like 2 or 3 weeks. So I can just imagining how their normal work ethic is and how they normally approach it and how they play it. And also, I think this kind of patch sort of favors crazy teams that are willing to take fights very early on. For example, if you win a fight now in the first 5 minutes, you can actually effectively win an entire lane because there's no way to come back to the shrine to regen. 1 or 2 kills can entirely ruin your whole laning phase. So I think Sinister 5 are the type of players that can actually pressure you so early on that you don't necessarily know what to do and know how to handle their type of momentum. So I do think Sinister 5 can pull out the upset, beat Bravado. Whether they'll beat the next opponent, I don't know, because now they'll be taken a lot more seriously. But at the very onset of it, especially with the surprise factor, I'm pretty sure the Bravado players aren't right now focusing on Sinister 5 as a team. They're thinking more towards, okay, fine, after Sinister 5, we have to play up against either APG or XCC or play WRG. They have to try and do that calculation. But losing now, they won't expect it. I think Sinister 5 can beat them in this regard.
I think Sinister 5 has a chance. The problem is it's a best of 3. Like you're gonna mess around in game 1 of a best of 3. You lose that.
Yeah.
Likelihood is you're not gonna take any chances in games 2 and 3, and that's the thing. So I think if Sinister 5 does win the first game, I doubt they're gonna win the whole series though.
I actually think the opposite. I think if they win a single game, then they win the series. But if they don't lose a single game, they go 2-0.
Oh,
I'm rooting for them, but I feel like they're going to go in with a game plan. They're going to have this whole talk on TeamSpeak. They'll be like, guys, it's play our style, all that garbage. And then they're going to get into the game, and then they might be like overwhelmed by like the individual skill in the players. You know what I mean? Might be like O'Malley gives them too much VAR time, or Soda gives them too much VAR time, or RDK gives them too much VAR time. You know what I mean? I feel like they're going to back down from it, and then they're going to crumble.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for them though. Like,
I'm loving this. So if I can just paint this picture, right? So, Prof, you're saying Bravado.
Yes.
Snay, you're saying
Sinister 5.
Sinister 5. And Donnie, you're saying
Bravado 2-0, but Sinister 5, you can do it.
I was going to hope you should have gone for a draw.
I hope it's a
somehow.
close game.
like
That's
I
all I
said,
hope for.
I agree with Donnie. It's not that Sinister 5 has like a great chance of winning. They have a chance, but I'm going to go with BBD because I think BBD the team has a better pedigree than what I've seen from Sinister 5. Sinister 5 is still much like Mythic. Like they have those idiosyncratic problems that up-and-coming teams have. It's like you're not used to dealing with that kind of pressure. And then, it's going to be Soda getting in your face, and you're like, okay, I'm not certain what to do. Call the supports, and then as soon as that happens, RDK gets crazy on his lane and then starts pushing there. And it's like all of a sudden you're fighting 100 fires all over the map, and it becomes an issue that you can't deal with.
I feel like I should give you a chance to respond to this there.
I do think the one thing that actually favors a little bit more for Sinister 5 in this, after the role swap, I've tended to notice that before, Bravado games would be very 4 protect 1 heavy, and you would know that past 50 minutes, RDK will have a master enough farm, you'll always win the game. Soda's a much more active player than RDK in the carry position, so I think long games, if Sinister 5 can force long games, I think they have a better potential to win then, because Soda's not the type of player who's comfortable sitting for the long game and just farming it up, not getting involved in the early game, not actually getting involved in pushing down towers. So in a very, very long game, if Sinister 5 can do that and force a long game, I think they have really good potential. If not, then it's like...
And yeah, it's also like a lot of this is going to depend on the heroes, you know.
Yeah.
It's useless saying that like if it's a short game, this team's going to win. It's like if they have the heroes to win in a short game and their time passes, you're then stuffed. You know, it's like you're not going to have something like, for instance, an Axe like ultra carrier game at 80 minutes. It's just not going to happen. He's got a certain period when his spike is really, really big. If he gets good calls in the late game, yeah, he can maybe change a fight, but he's not going to be the hero that's going to win you an entire game at 80 minutes because he's super farm type thing. You really need heroes that can take it to that distance and then still have the abilities, and you're going to need big plays.
Yeah.
So a big ask. Donnie, I'm curious to know from your side though, obviously you've played in the highest levels in SA. Is it difficult playing up against a side like Sinister 5 when you are expected to win? A side that is potentially capable but shouldn't win?
I don't think it's difficult. If like just now, not being obviously rude, but I mean you're obviously relaxed about it, right? You're not no one on your team thinks you're gonna lose, right? So like if your whole team is like, dude, it's chilled, like it's fine, right? Then you're like, okay, it's fine. But then there are these points in the game where it's like, okay, it is actually kind of close, and then you're like, hey, stop messing around, and then it's over.
It's
over. But like, if people are too lax, it can be a close game. But then I think if they get into their groove, then it's all good.
Yeah.
Right, well, I think we need to go back towards where we were most focused on. Of course, Mythic Gaming versus White Rabbit Gaming. Now, just for a little test here, so who thinks Mythic's got this? I mean, you backed the underdogs last time, buddy.
Here's the thing. I did back the underdogs, and I really like Sargon, and I actually really like Mythic, but WRG is just on another
The problem
level.
is White Rabbit Gaming doesn't have the issues that BVD does have currently. Like if White Rabbit had just done a roll swap and everybody looked a lot worse than they were before, then you could maybe say that Mythic has like the furthest of outside shots. But given the performance that White Rabbit Gaming put up just last weekend, I think they're going to be motivated. They didn't win the first Mega8 competition despite coming in as the heavy favorites. So I think they have a bit of revenge in their minds now.
Well, Mythic may in fact be the brunt of that revenge, as we are about to head straight into the draft here. So if you're just tuning in once again, this is Mythic Gaming versus White Rabbit Gaming at the Mega8 Winter Cup. So our draft screen up. Gentlemen, we were chatting a little bit about the heroes earlier. Are there any particular heroes that you would like to see picked up? Just potential favorites of yours.
Well, I mean, Jakira is very popular, and I do enjoy the hero. Pretty much standard bans here at the moment. Kotl,
I know it won't be picked up, but I want to see a Zeus this tournament.
I would love to
I
see
want to
Zeus.
see
Maybe an
the
ACG
Ag
Zeus?
I mean, anyone's Zeus. I just want to see a mid Zeus somewhere. I think it's super cool. I just want to.
That's actually a hero that I think is needed in the game right now, because I think there's a lot of situations where you can actually see, especially in the Ag Zeus, that mini stun in middle of team fights is actually game breaking. Especially when the enemy team doesn't have a lot of BKB carrying heroes, can force them to have to buy BKB. So
he also got a lot of buffs this patch as well. So I mean, it's reasonable to see him. It really depends on whether the pros actually want to pick him up.
WRG's been watching international Dota. Tuskar first pick.
Warlock, as you called, and Axe. Okay.
I don't like the Axe pickup against Tuskar.
Neither do I.
Because like, if Tuskar ever gets a blink or he's not in call, he just goes in, balls his teammates,
and then
Axe,
it's over.
Like, call is like negated. But I mean, he still has to get blink though, right, for the Tuskar. But
still,
I still don't.
The laning phase is traumatic for Axe now, because if you ever overextend, then one eye shot you will die, guaranteed. With this Axe hero not very fast anymore, not necessarily will be getting a very fast blink dagger unless he's going to go back into the jungle. Tusk applies pressure mid and safe lane. So I don't know, it's really a tough ask to pick Axe directly into the Tuskar.
And like, the nice thing about Tusk is like he initiates from range, so it's very, very difficult to actually effectively dodge if he lands a good eye shots. And Mirana.
I've been wondering where this hero's gone. I think actually it can be a good hero this patch.
The Mirana or the Tusk?
Mirana, Moonlight Shadow. In a patch when most teams, let's be honest, and haven't really figured out what's the best optimal vision for 7.0 version yet. So a hero that can entirely mask your team and can come out of nowhere. Like I feel like we've seen a lot more smoke ganks in the later iterations of this patch than we saw beforehand. So because most teams are weaker towards that, Mirana can also fill that role as well and really pressure you.
I think the problem with like the Mirana is also it's like a bit of a, you're not really 100% certain. I mean, Donnie might know better here, but it's like, do you play it as a support or a carry type thing?
At the moment, I think it's just like an open pick. Like, so that like, it keeps Mythic Gaming guessing. They don't know if it's a mid one or they don't know if it's sport. But honestly, I think it's going to be a Schlink's bottom.
Schlink's
But I
Miranda,
mean,
yeah.
they might, like, I don't think mid bottom's a thing. I don't think it's
Yeah.
bad. I just don't think it's like as good as other mids, right?
Carry perhaps, or
No.
I don't know. Doesn't Tusk Mirana strike you as sort of an odd support duo? It's kind of awkward. Like
It's WRG.
it is WRG. WRG doesn't necessarily make sense when they draft all the
They
time.
think it's a support bottom. They're banning mid heroes. Like, that's what they think. They're having the same thought process right now. But I mean,
yeah, it's like a very weird support combo because you need to land the shards and the arrow.
might be an offlane
I mean,
Tusker.
if you land the
Could be
shards
offline.
though,
That is true.
then landing the arrow is got to be pretty easy, right?
Not necessarily because the shards I think might be over by the time the arrow lands.
Well, I think more so you just you commit, you toss out the shards and the
Oh,
arrow at
so
the
it is
point where the
core
shards
Mirana.
should hit.
It's mid Miranas.
You don't know. It could be an offlane Tusker.
It could be an offlane Tusk.
don't
I don't know,
know.
but I don't think Chidawi wants to play Tusk. Well, actually, never
That's
mind.
a fun hero,
It
right?
is actually a fun
I
hero
would
to
play
play.
it. Like, it's a fun hero.
Ember Spirit for mid. So does WRG just go back for SF for Castaway? Not banned, not picked, still in the pool.
I think SF's an okay pick, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
decent.
it's okay.
Gives some good push potential. They already have
there
the
you go.
SF.
Yeah.
All right, so
Nice, cool.
what do
Uh,
they ban at the end?
What about WRG?
No, Mythic. I think WRG right
Not a
now,
ban to carry.
because it's still so open, right? We don't know how they're going to be running this lineup. You could still potentially see Mirana go into the safe lane, and then you get something like, I don't know, Void for the off lane.
Yeah,
so,
they're thinking that it's
so yeah.
Mirana safe.
So they think it's
Clock.
Mirana safe, so clock banned.
Are we going to see a Whelp bottom after 2 years?
I mean,
He's
that's what-
very
that's what
well
he-
known for his
yeah,
bottom.
it's what he was.
that
he's
is-
made of. Like he got right at the beginning. He made his name, ironically a different name, but he made his name playing Mirana.
Okay, so
Alright.
it's a safe lane bottom. Yep.
Yeah, it is safe lane
Or,
bottom.
or dual lanes. They might just go aggro dual lane, honestly. And depending on the matchup here, but I mean, yeah. we'll see.
Yeah.
With like bottom and a hero. But it's
Doom's an interesting pick though. Obviously he's going to benefit quite a bit from the more rich jungle now, but still a pretty weak laner when he doesn't have that scorched earth up though.
True, but I think definitely because of what you mentioned, now I'm pretty certain they're going to be doing dual lanes with this.
Yeah.
Like you throw
Like it's the only way it makes logical
So-
sense
so
to
yeah.
have him in the lane.
Am I interested to chat a little bit more about Mythic Game? Because there's a good chance that White Rabbit are just sort of saying, what do you guys feel like playing right now?
I think it's like that, yeah. Pretty much.
Because there's some push in here, whatever, but it does feel a little bit
I think you go.
peculiar.
I think you go troll here as your carry for Mythic Gaming. You need a hero that can fight while being doomed. If you go something else, like I don't know, Juggernaut's banned, Lifestealer's banned, Sven banned.
What other good calls are there? Carries.
I mean, Ursa's already out as well,
Yeah,
so
a lot of the
there's-
main ones are already out.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think we did see a little bit of like
TV.
Luna, but I don't know if that's.
Against Potem,
We have-
Core, and SF AWLT.
Yeah, I don't know.
TV's that good.
Luna's a bit too squishy in my mind. It feels like. You also
Yeah.
don't want a hero that is going to be right up in front of the Tusk's face or next to the Doom. Sorry, you could just get easily infernal bladed. So I don't know. I think you just need a hero that can buy lifesteal and that can conceivably fight while underneath the influence of Doom.
I mean, we saw gyros last week, but I mean, I don't see a
Yeah.
gyro here. Weaver would also.
maybe?
But the problem is Weaver's so weak. Like he has to get the Lincolns and
Oh, it's a
Razor.
Razor.
Oh, Razor.
Okay.
Okay.
Why not? Why not?
Or TZ
Well,
style.
anyways, I think there are some casters that I'm sure would love to give us their input in this as well. So let's hear what good old Wilson and Demonic had to say about this lineup.
Yeah, baby, it's looking interesting. Both me and Demonic are basically salivating behind the desk here. It's looking damn exciting. But I will tell you this, panel. I had a little phone call with Sargon just before this game started, and he promised me 4 bounty runes and first blood.
I mean, that is a pretty
Okay.
big prediction.
Sargon's
also wasn't very
drinking some
specific about
juice.
who was getting those.
Okay. Well, on that note, let's give it over, guys. Panel says goodbye, and of course, casters take away. Have a good one.
Thank you so much, my dear panel. You've given us so much to work with, and I'm just loving this draft. Demonic, you and I have been sitting here. We've had a good long chat about things. We're keen to see the Shadow Shaman come into play at last.
Shadow Shaman, obviously one of my favorite heroes, one of the strongest level 1 heroes, just because of his skill sets. But an interesting draft coming out of WRG. Obviously, the Whelp is actually going to be picking up that Potsdam, and as pointed out by our panel earlier, it was one of his signature heroes back when him and fellow panelist Donnie used to be together on that Bravado Gaming side, the original one.
The near unbeatable side, as it was known, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been a while since we've seen that, so it's going to be really interesting to see. And obviously, the heroes changed quite significantly since then. Obviously, we've had the introduction of talents and who knows, or all sorts of things since then.
Could we
So
actually see an Aghanims on the sax? That's something I've been waiting to see in the professional scene.
I mean, it's going to be a tough lane for them, I feel. Whelp should be able to do okay in that safe lane against what I'm guessing is going to be an Axe Warlock combination. I mean, that's generally what you would run up here. I'm not sure if they will throw the Crystal Maiden up here as well, but it definitely does seem they're going to have, at the very least, that dual lane. So fairly predictable stuff coming out here from Mythic Gaming.
Yeah, for the most part. Right, so without any further ado, let's introduce you to the teams. Kunshin will be picking up that mid laner in the form of his Ember Spirit on the other side of the coin there. BEE is picking up this Crystal Maiden towards the bottom. Precious Petunia, who was smoked up and has now obviously broken that smoke, will be picking up the Razor towards the top lane. We've got ourselves Levy on that Axe. What a champion of a man. And Sargon, last but certainly not least, for the side of Mythic Gaming on the Warlock.
And on the side of White Rabbit Gaming, the current champions in the South African Dota side, we're going to have Chidoe taking off his off-lane role, and it's going to be taking the role of that Doom. Doesn't look like he's going to be getting any support here, so he's just going to be left to his own devices. Castaway, obviously, one of the most favoured South African players and a mid to watch throughout the tournament. Is going to be taking the role of that mid SF. We're going to have Schlinks taking the role of that Tusk as predicted, so he should be having a pretty good time. I expect to see a lot of movement out of him in the early game. And Whelp, as we've mentioned, going to be taking on his somewhat signature carry Potom.
It's been some time.
Yeah, it has been some time.
Yeah.
And finally, but definitely not least, we've got Santo going to be taking the role of that Shadow Shaman.
Now, you see, I remember Santo back in the days when he was playing a whole lot of Tidehunter. Man, what this guy can do in the off lane is absolutely staggering. I'm very keen to see what he can pull off as the Shadow Shaman, especially since the recent buff.
Yeah, I mean, Santo's really sort of flourished in that hard support role, especially over the past couple of months, keeping an eye on the DGL, and that kind of thing. He's just been they've moved. Oh dear, so really got some excitement in the warding games, and unfortunately that ward immediately going to go down. But it looks like we might actually get a little bit of action here.
Yep, there's your first little bit of action. Whelp is going to go for that arrow. Sargon healing up nicely. There comes Schlinks, and boom, first blood. Within seconds of beginning this game, WRG have already kicked off to a great start, 1-0, and we're not even 1 minute in. Levy getting heavily plastered out of this lane. No amount of spins is going to help you here, and that's that. 1-0, 1 minute.
Yeah, 74 base damage on that Shadow Shaman. Turns out to be quite value when you're taking down a hero like Sargon at level 1.
Strong. And of course, setting everything up with the shackles, followed up by the Sacred Arrow from Mirana. I mean, it just couldn't get easier than that.
Yeah, and it's going to be an exciting lane up top here, but I feel like WRG are going to get the upper hand here. I feel like the CM is either going to have to come help them and just leave their Razor to go against the Doom, which he should do fine. I mean, that should be a fine solo lane for the Razor to actually sit and get some farm. Although and we are going to have some more action at the top lane.
Yep, Levy stepping forward does get healed up immediately by Sargon. And this is exactly what they're kind of looking for. And B is actually there to follow them up, that Crystal Maiden. Santo's going to have to back on off, I suspect. This is the kind of setup they want. They want Levy in the front. He can tank a little bit. Sargon with a great, fantastic heal in the back. And, of course, that extra little bit of nuke and sustain in the form of that Frostbite. Will do well. Santo is going to tank a lot of damage. He might survive this if he doesn't get hit too much. I think he'll be fine, though.
Oh, it's going to be really close, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to get it. 2-minute bounty rune going the way of Schlinks, and this is just a really messy offlane here. But the Warlock might actually be in trouble. Schlinks does have that Orb of Venom. Sargon's trying to make his way up, but I feel like he's not going to have to get there. He does cast his heal, so he's doing his best to get away, but his friends aren't helping him out here. He's really so alone.
He needs to turn around and break the clarity at the very least. Otherwise, he's going to get ice-shotted again, and that's it. Once that happens... Oh, he's actually going for the creep deny. Oh, and he manages. Beautifully done. Schlinks chases until he grows old in the knees and gets nothing for it. I suppose that's a victory. Well done, Sargon.
I'm not sure what I just witnessed, but we'll take it. Sargon's going to be happy with himself. Managed to get to the creep deny, and Schlinks does notice the illusion rune down here in this bottom lane. Is looking towards to make that mid rotation, and. Kunshin, it must be said, actually not doing too bad here, considering that he's against Castaway SF. He doesn't have 13, CS to the 18 of Castaway, so actually not doing too bad here for a pretty good start for Kunshin.
Do you think his build is the way to go here? You've got Flame Guard and Searing Chains. Is that really the way he wants to go for the early stages of the game?
Generally, you only want a point in an early point in Sleight of Fist if you're going to be dodging something early.
Okay.
I don't feel like he's going to be able to dodge much. Like once the shards go off here, it's not like Sleight of Fist is going to be able to help him get out of those shards in any way. So I feel like this is probably the best idea for him at the moment. It's going to at least make him the most survival and keep him alive. So I approve of the build so far.
Yeah, I'd have to hazard to agree there, as I couldn't think of it better myself. It's kind of necessary, especially for that damage block. So that's really all you can say about the mid lane, because it's going to be fairly tight unless we get a few rotations left and right. Nonetheless, Precious Pachuna sitting towards the bottom lane, leading the charge for his team at 18 for 9. He is behind Whelp, but not by very, very much. Castaway obviously leading the charts for everyone. But what do you see this Razor doing here?
I'm actually really interested to see what.
Do you think he's in trouble?
I don't feel like he's in trouble that much yet. He has been playing quite aggressive, just trying to get, he's got level 2 in the static link to try and get Chidoi away from this lane and try to get some experience. But I feel like he has been letting these static links go off a little bit, maybe too early. But he does only have a set of boots. Perhaps once he gets his phase boots, he can be slightly more aggressive in this lane, I feel. But we've got some action in the mid.
Oh, speaking of aggressive, it looks like Schlinks actually missed his chance there. And Kunshun manages to skulk away on the sidelines. Schlinks trying desperately to make something happen in the mid lane. But nothing just yet. In the meantime, Santo and Whelp still making moves here. Oh no, CM dropping very low. Whelp going very deep for it though. Levy's trying to catch somebody out, but it looks like this team is just dancing around the big rig Andy man. There's really nothing they can do. They can't force him. They can't force the fight into Levy.
I feel like the best way to describe this top lane is clowny. This is it's a clowny situation that's happening. With this sort of like really odd tri-lane, they don't really have any sort of direct stuns. Like if Santo goes in and actually shackles something, he's going to absolutely explode, by the other two heroes. So it's sort of like an odd stalemate that we're up here. And in the end, that's actually okay. Whelp is ranged, so he's not going to be taking too much harass from Levy, and is doing fine on the CS. So, WG are going to be perfectly happy what's happening in this top lane.
Absolutely. It does tie down 3 of the heroes for the side of Mythic, whilst only 2 are tied down for the side of WG. That's really the only reason why I'd hand this lane to them if nothing changes very, very quickly. If you're going to have that tri-lane, they have to make something happen here.
Yeah,
and try to equalize the scoreline at the very least.
I mean, it's either that or they need to get, unfortunately they don't really have the supports to be able to throw it out to smoke somewhere, maybe smoke the mid lane with a CM and a Warlock. I don't feel like they're going to accomplish anything against Castaway. So it's what do? They can try to get enemy bounty runes, but for the moment, their best option is to keep this Axe safe and make sure that he has at least the best time as possible. But unfortunately, the Axe is only sitting at 16 CS. I mean, I don't feel he's going to be getting a particularly fast blink here anytime soon. So it's a worrying situation, but I don't think Mythic are...
Here comes the ball. Schlinks, is he going to actually catch... No, BE is okay. So far, so good. Levy getting one spin, not good enough, though. Schlinks is on his way out in the backlines. The Warlock is going to be the first man down. Levy soon to follow unless he gets another spin. He doesn't. And Whelp gets away with nothing, although he will go down thanks to that final little tick of damage from the Battle Hunger. BE now getting chased out by Santa. Santa might be chasing a bit deep, and he knows it. He turns around and says, well, keep your life, keep that 10 HP. I'm going to keep my success here and keep the scoreline at 1-3. 7 minutes 30 in.
Oh, what a slightly awkward engagement.
Yeah.
The fact that they walked in here allowed Whelp just to arrow straight down here, and there were 3 heroes sitting in a line. So he was basically deciding which hero should I actually choose. In this case, it was Sargon, who then proceeded to explode. But unfortunately, this is the stalemate that happens. The side that managed to get sort of a better position, and if they can actually catch them out, as we see, Precious Petunia actually goes down to an early carry rotation from Whelp. Actually, I really like to see Whelp coming down here to get an early kill. That's not something that you see too often.
Well, as a Mirana, I feel if you're not going to be rotating, you're not that amazing. Sure, you can flash farm later with the Aghanim Scepter, and even without it, you can, for the most part, flash farm. But I'd really prefer players who play a Mirana that
Sargon
are very
might be in
active
trouble on
across
top.
the map. Sargon in trouble yet again. Is he? Yes, he
Oh,
is.
yes,
He's
he is.
definitely gone. He's going to try and do what he can for Santo, who's TPing out. Should be A-okay unless the fate... Nope, no more fatal bonds. And that's that. It's now 5-1.
And Levi, I think, doing what maybe they should have done here a little bit earlier, just going off into the jungle, now has his Tranquil Boots, and is halfway to that Blink Dagger, 1,000 gold in the bank. Schlinks looks like they may want to try getting up an award here to try a spot out when that Axe is going to be coming into that top lane. And I'm really interested why Precious Petunia has come up to the top lane just to try and decide farming now. Whelp is now, I suppose with Whelp switching to the bottom lane, that's a little bit of a less favorable matchup for the Razor, but it's still not a bad one, I would say.
No, it's not terrible. Levy's making a move here. No call as of yet, but there is the root. It's good. Levy not getting too lucky with the spins, and Whelp is just going to leap away after a single spin drops on him. That's basically all that's going to happen in this bottom lane. Unfortunately, Whelp has that built-in escape in the form of the leap and is very, very happy to use it.
Yeah, and one of the big things that we haven't actually talked about is Castaway. As we can see, his jungle, he's gone off into the jungle. His CS is now huge compared to everyone else in the game, sitting at 80 CS at 85 CS at 9 minutes, not even 10 minutes into the game.
Yep.
He is going to get absolutely disastrously huge in no time flat. He's about to take another stack here with the 3 Razors, and that is going to get into 5k net worth at 10 minutes. Not bad.
Not bad at all, but then again, this is the mid player for the giants, the titans of SA esports, and that is WRG. So I kind of feel like we should expect this kind of performance from this man.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly the kind of start that we're going to have. Chadawi looks like he's going to be going for that hand.
Rooted up. Is Precious Petunia going to have enough? No, there is no true sight here as of yet, unless somebody's bringing it along. Kunshin doesn't have. Neither does Precious Petunia. Nope, I think they're just waiting for Whelp to maybe make a mistake. There's the courier. He doesn't take the courier bait. Almost walks into a sentry ward, almost psychically placed, but now he is visible. I suspect they're going to rotate Sargon to try and catch him. Man, this guy is psychic. Whelp going for the longest route in history. He is buying space for his team, so it's not all too bad. In comes the TP from BEE. Not going to be quick enough, and he's actually making his way out. Yes, he is quick enough, actually. Does manage to get that final tick of damage, and with him and Sargon, finally, Whelp goes down after what must be an age of man of chasing.
Well, showing that he's got his best dancing shoes on, doing a little soft shoe shuffle through the forest there, and putting on the jukes for the side of Mythic. I mean, they're happy. I'm not sure they're too happy that the Warlock got the kill.
Doom comes out in the bottom lane. Does Levy have enough to stay alive?
Oh,
Not
no, he's dead.
a chance. And actually, the deny comes out. Sargon, the master of denies this game. That's the second kill that was basically booked, bought, sold, and hooked for the side of WG that Sargon has denied for them. Still, it's not the same story in terms of towers. Mid tower down, top tower down, and Mythic Gaming is running out of space to play in.
Yeah, they're just trying to get as much farm on their cores as possible. They know, but they need to start fighting soon. They've got some levels on their Ember Spirit. They've got some levels on Precious Petunia. Precious Petunia looks like it's going to be going towards that Sang Yasha, so not deciding for a Dragon Lance or anything like that as of yet. So just trying to get as fast as possible. I don't mind that Sang Yasha pickup just because he needs to be quite fast in this game to be able to keep up with his static link. So and it gives him
Levy.
Dear.
Pop goes the Weasel. Castaway helps himself. And all Chidawi had to do was supply a single stun in the form of the Infernal Blade. It's not even that bad a stun, and Levy is history.
And you can nowadays you can also split the Manta into you can split the Sang and Yasha into a Manta and a Heaven's Hellbird. Heaven's Hellbird now going through BKB,
Very
I think
strong.
is...
well, it doesn't go through BKB. It's not purged by BKB.
It's not purged by BKB.
Yeah.
But
it's just as good.
It's still very good, and considering the fact that they have a large amount of their DPS, their physical DPS is going to be coming out of Castaway, whereas the rest of their team is mostly magical bursts. Doom later on will be doing some physical DPS, but for the most part, it's going to be Castaway. A Heaven's Hellbird might actually be a pretty good option here. In the mid game, especially if once he gets that BKB, if they can force out a BKB, then get the Hellbird down, it could be pretty good for them. That allows Ember a good few seconds of not getting hit to actually deal some damage.
Absolutely.
Which is huge.
But the question is, will Razor have enough mutton chops to pick up these items before it's too late? And speaking of too late, I mean, just take a look at those graphs. Net worth, almost 10,000 in the lead for the boys of WRG. And XP, it's much the same story, about 5,000 in the lead. And obviously, I mean, WRG is farming so much more of the map.
Yeah.
They've got this entire space to work with.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the efficiency. You've got Chadoe sitting in the bottom lane. You've got Schlinks who's just roaming around. He's had a fairly good early game. He's already halfway onto his Blink Dagger.
He's done his job.
Yeah, Santo got his mana boots, farming out the jungle himself, and plus now you've got Castaway sitting in the jungle after just doing what he does best and ricing hard. And Welp has had a brilliant game and heading towards that Argonum Scepter, which he should probably get before, I would say, the 20-minute mark or so if he keeps up like this.
Now there's a term I haven't heard in a long time. Ricing.
Ricing.
Yeah.
Well, I
haven't
thought
heard that in quite some time.
I thought since Devon's here,
Walking straight into Sargon. Sargon's
dear.
got nowhere to go, and that's the end of that.
you know, since Hellbird is around and you talk about rices, there's no one that rices like Hellbird. So I thought you may as well give him a shout out to some ricing.
Yep. In the meantime, Moonlight Shadow popped. Schlinks looking for a little bit of action towards the bottom lane. He is going to find a juicy booty in the form of Crystal Maiden, but not going to be close enough. Yeah, I think they sniffed it out. Possibly the ward over here, spotting out the Moonlight Shadow, but still they managed to get around. Precious Fortuna, he does actually get caught, but Schlinks blocks his own friends, and that's the end of that. Castaway, though, does manage to find a quivering Crystal Maiden in the bush there. She's not even level 6 yet.
I think a massive mistake that I've just noticed from Mythic is the fact that Warlock is level 6 and doesn't have his ulti.
Sorry, what?
He has got 3 points in Shadow Word, 2 points in Fatal Bonds, and a point in Upheaval. No sign of the rock in sight. They are not able to teamfight without that rock, unfortunately. And until he gets it, which he's still trying to struggle to do, WG just have free reign. You can see there's no sort of lockdown for the side of until that actually gets a decent blink call off, but he still doesn't have the blink dagger. So
yeah, he's just been picked off.
They're so reliant on that rock, and the fact that they didn't have the rock for that T2 means that WG get a free T2 and carry on with their easy life.
Do you feel like the side of Mythic have kind of caved in? They're, psychologically speaking, they're all afraid to step out from what is now this side.
Yeah.
I mean, it's serious problems.
Well, I mean,
it's
just
a really big problem.
Just look at the vision here. They have 2 wards in their jungle, so they can see that's the fact that WG were just there. But other than that, there's no other sites, on their side of the map. So Kunshan's just doing his best here. Oh, Welp is seriously close here. There might be a little bit of action top lane. No, he does manage to get away. So, I mean, besides the Ember Spirit, who can actually take those risky farming positions thanks to his ultimate, without vision, you have to slowly cave in. And then your choice is either go for an aggressive smoke, try get somewhere on the map, put down vision so that you can then start to play in that area and choose the team fights that you want, or you do it at the moment, which is you just stick together and you make sure that you don't feed.
Yeah, the big problem with doing that, though, is that you stifle your farm, you stifle your XP. I mean, now look, Levy and Precious Fortuna, 2 people who both need a fair amount of farm, especially for this stage of the game when Levy doesn't even have his blink yet.
20 gold away.
Okay, 20 gold.
He's got it. Oh, no, he missed it.
No,
oh,
he missed it. Is this it?
Can he do it?
Boom!
Oh, yes, he got it.
I have a massive amount of respect for this guy.
Meanwhile, Chadoe is 300 off his Radiance on that off-lane Doom.
Yeah, that really describes for me the timbre of the game. Levy getting doomed up here. He's bought out, I believe. Yes, he has, so he's A-okay for now. He will be going down. There's not much that the side of Sargon and the boys can do. Out comes the Invis. Is it going to be enough to bust the link? Precious Fortuna keeps chasing. They have an idea of where he is. Is it good enough? Yes, maybe. Finally, down goes Chidawi, and Precious Fortuna will be picking up that kill.
Yeah, and that's 391 gold. I mean, that's not to be scoffed at. Plus a decent amount of assist gold for his team, considering that there are 4 of them there. So that's a nice little jump of gold for the side of Mythic, and and some good XP. It's 1,000 gold in their favor. That's not to be scoffed at. That's for sure. And once again, buys more time for Kunshan to get a little bit of farm. I feel like he hasn't been active enough with his team. We haven't really felt Mythic Gaming come together and say, okay, let's take a fight. And, you know, at the moment it's been more reactive Dota. They've been reacting to what WOG is doing, and this might be the opportunity here.
Yep. This is the opportunity, and they're picking it because they know that Doom is a little bit far behind, having only just respawned now. They're smoking up, trying to find something here in their own top lane jungle. I doubt they're going to find something unless they walk straight into Whelp. Nope, they've turned around again. A few pings come out. Kunchun, maybe in a compromising position here. He thought he was getting the jump on them. He's going to get counter-jumped. Nope. Beautiful, lovely little rock drop down, and Slinks will be the first man down. Santo soon to follow. Castaway is going to hit the deck. Levy's still alive by the skin of his teeth. Nope, he's going to go down to Chidawi as well. And now Whelp comes on in and tries to mop up the crew. B next on the menu, and that should do it. One more right click is all it takes. That's good enough. And Chidawi's actually going to pick it up with the Radiance burn. Tanking a fat arrow to the face. Whelp probably didn't expect to get that one. Kunchen taking a world of damage, only activating the shield now. Is he going to have enough to kill her before he kills Snow? And Whelp walks around with yet another kill in his belt. Ultimately, they walked away with a victory there, and Whelp is smiling all the way home. He must have made an absolute fortune out of that fight.
I mean, for a hot second there, I would lie to you, Wilson, it looked like it might have gone Mythic Gaming's way. When that rock got dropped, there was a lot of damage. Fatal Bonds, obviously, pretty good spell in the game of Dota 2. But, I mean, the XP change and damage done, not that bad, actually. It's 3,200 to 4,400.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would say that's not bad for Mythic Gaming. They did manage to get a couple of kills there. Sure, Whelp came in afterwards and mopped up, and that's probably not the best situation. But considering the fact that you're already behind, the fact that you managed to get a couple of kills with your team fight, you're gonna be okay with that, I think.
Absolutely. I couldn't think of anything better, to be entirely honest, especially since they are still 12,000 net worth, now 13,000 net worth behind. They've got a lot of catch-up to do, and at the very least they're getting some consolation prizes. 14-7 is better than 5-1.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And once Levi actually gets that blade mail, it might be significant amounts of damage if he can get a good call onto the SF and the like. And that might be, you know, what they need to actually just get that tiny little bit more damage that they needed to get in that team fight. But it looks like he actually might be in a little bit of trouble here.
Good old Levy, yep, and might be baited in, yeah, out come the illusions, starting out with the damage, Slinks to follow up, Santo there, he's gonna start nailing him down, Chidawi comes in, and doesn't even need to use the Doom to secure the kill, Slinks walks away with that final tick of damage from the Ice Shards.
Yeah, basically just encircled and killed. I mean, we saw WOG had found their target.
I think a little bit out of position.
Yeah, just a touch too far forward. Unfortunately, he was found and basically manhandled and killed. Yeah. So, but unfortunately, WG, I'm not really sure what they're trying to accomplish here in this bot lane. It doesn't really feel like they want to go for high ground. Their vision at the moment is largely on the dire side, sort of secret shop area, you know, to the left-hand side. So, yeah, that's what I thought. They must be thinking about Rosh now, because they've definitely got the map control to do it.
Well, out comes the stun. Easiest stun of Whelp's life, and Whelp will be joining Castaway in the Rosh pit. I don't think that there is absolutely anything the side of Mythic can do about it, especially since I don't think they know. Look at this vision. 1 ward, 2 wards, 3 wards. They've got everything, every base covered.
Yeah, they will know if Mythic decide to come into the Rosh pit, so that's going to be a pretty easy rush. I'm surprised that Mythic didn't really expect this, considering that...
oh, Sargon.
You know that oh dear, Sargon. TP, my friend.
It's okay, he's alright.
Yeah, he's done fine.
Panic TP.
But Marauder has picked up that Argonum Scepter, deciding not to go for Blink Dagger, and it's actually heading towards that Majolna into the more carry Marana, which is the wealth that we love to know and see, and he's done a fantastic job this game. Mythic Gaming, they do have their ultis up, so they may want to look for a fight here. Razor does actually have decided to go for that Blade Mail as well. Really interesting choice coming out of him as one of the tanky heroes. I actually enjoy that.
So the smoke coming out here, a little too late to defend a tier 2 if that was what they were intending. I doubt that's actually what they should be doing. Look how terrified they are. They are absolutely terrified. They don't even want to step out of base under cover of smoke.
Yeah, and I mean, basically just I think they're going to try use this to get their at least a little bit of vision out. Wenger out does have a ward here, is going to put some vision out, at least on that high ground. I think, you know, if you're in a bad place, just putting a ward out here is maybe not the best, I would say, up on this high ground. It's one of the predictable ward spots. And in this kind of in this kind of situation, you literally need any vision that you can get, right? Yeah. Any vision is good vision. So the fact that that's pretty much, you know that that's going to get dewarded as soon as WRG even think about heading down there. So, you know, maybe not the best ward choice, but we'll see if it at least gives them some vision for the meantime.
Look at this damage this tower just took.
Yeah.
2 hits. That's all it took. 2 hits. Desolator, easy. WRG sitting very, very comfortably at 15 for 7 here at the 24-minute mark if you've just joined us. And this is only game 1. Levy still looking for that dream call. It's may not happen this time round, but it looks like they're going to commit. In come the Serpent Wards. The damage is starting to flow thick and fast from the hands of WRG. Precious Petuna doing what he can to discourage them, but I don't think there's much they can do.
And the glyph has come out, which is huge.
Yeah.
That's going to allow WRG to push this high ground with the Aegis if they so choose. But I think they're going to be happy with this T3 damage that they've done here.
Are they just waiting for an arrow?
No, I don't. I think this is you've got Castaway in the front. He's got the Aegis, and he's happy to just sit and hit that tower. And this is just exactly what you keep doing. You spread out so that they can't get they can't get the rock call bomb combination, and you just let Castaway hit stuff.
Oh, but it looks like Kunshun does have the nuts to go in. Nope. Is it going to be enough? Nope. Doom comes out onto Axe. Axe is now in a full retreat. He's going to hit the deck. Most of his friends are going to run and flee in terror, but then one does manage to turn around. Chidawi walks away with not 1 but 2 kills. Santo in the meantime is there. The rock is dropped. It's beautifully done. Is it going to be enough? Levy bought back. Got straight back into this. Going to get a revenge kill onto Chidawi. And the Rax still stands. Whelp again coming in to mop up like the janitor he is. Precious Petuna trying to do what he can with the blade mail, but he is going to go down. Kunshun getting a great little tether there. Nicely done, keeping them both well buttoned down. And Kunshun, oh my word, he dodges the death. Beautifully done, and they manage to hang on to their middle racks. My word, Mythic Gaming have done absolutely phenomenal
That's
things.
huge, Wilson.
That's massive.
That's huge. I'm sure they bought back on.
They've still kind of lost it, but
on 1 or 2 heroes, but the fact that they killed all 5 of WOG, that is a massive net worth swing in favor. Even with the lost gold from buying back, as you can see, there's a clear dip back, and you held your racks. I mean, Mythic are actually going to be happy with that. I actually didn't think the rock was good to begin with, but then it actually worked out. Sargon doing a good job, has 1,600 in the bank. I don't think he's ever felt this risk. Kunshun's got to get another kill.
Oh, beautifully done by Kunshun. That's exactly what you're looking for. You're a split pushing away, and somebody contributes their own death to your hero pool. Kunshun, definitely a player to keep your eyes on.
And 4,300 gold in the bank. Definitely looking towards that next item now.
Which should be? That's a good question.
That is a good question. You never really.
He's got a few options here, to be entirely honest.
I was going to say a Maelstrom, which I see he has picked up as generally the what would be sort of the usual choice, the Maelstrom into Majalna. So Kunshun is going to go for that. So
was there another option for him?
I mean, you could probably go something like a Octarine, maybe even a Shivas if you want to, but that's not the best build for him, you know what I mean?
Santo jumping on in with the blink. It's a good hex. Is it going to be enough to keep him locked down? He does follow it up nicely. Nope, not quite enough. Chidawi not there with the Doom by a matter of seconds, perhaps. Perhaps that was a call that just came through too soon.
Yeah, I think with the Radiance and the Shivas, they thought they might have enough physical damage with Chidawi, who's huge, by the way. He's the highest net worth in this game right now on this Doom. Midas doing work, and he's picked up the ancient creep, going for that talents. Oh no, it's not an ancient creep. It's just a little purge, the little purge creep, which I love. He can purge those selves. No, thanks 7.06.
Thank you 7.06. You just made this game so much fun. Well, I must say, compared to what we saw last weekend, Mythic are so. They're showing such a different side. They're really showing some teeth, and I'm glad this is a best of 3 because this is only game 1. Sure, it's looking very, very dire. It's almost a 20,000 net worth lead, 20 to 13, 28 minutes in. Your mid-rax is naked. They've taken away your shrines on the outside. You're losing map control, but still, what an admirable performance for such little guys to be taking at least one swing at the giants of SA Esports WRG.
And Kunshin, I like the fact that he's actually queued up a Dagon here. I'm not going to lie to you.
Oh, they're actually going to manage to catch out Mirana. Mirana hits the deck very quickly. 546 gold in the hands of Levy. He's going to be very happy with that and looking towards some pretty critical items soon if this game is to be extended any further.
Yeah, it turns out I was totally wrong about this, Ward Wilson. It's sat for its full duration down here. No one's touched it. It gave him the vision to get wealth. So clearly I'm just a fool. So I'll just continue talking my nonsense. But I mean,
we like your brand of nonsense, friend. We really like your brand of nonsense.
The special brand of nonsense that it is. And Precious Petunia, I think it's time that he gets a BKB now to start really getting seriously involved in this fight. BKB, maybe. Do you go the Argon Scepter nowadays? I don't even think that that's a thing. Maybe.
I don't think this is the game for it anyway. You'd need something like a Magnus to just bunch them all up close and tight together so that you can minimize the damage coming through from the entire team. Not really worth, although maybe. Hey, minus 30% damage on Castaway when he's chipping away at your tires. Very, very helpful, I guarantee you that. So
and the slight change that the Eye of the Storm focuses.
Immediately spotted out will be Chidawi in the mid lane. He was coming in to be aggressive, and he's actually going to be the aggressed. Beautiful rock dropped. Beautifully done. Precious Protruder fighting on, and Castaway is still at full HP. He's happy to take another fight, and the counter charge is on. Now, Razor trying to make a hasty escape. Nothing Sargon can do. He says, fare thee well, friend. I'm waving to you as I got to run. I have a dentist's appointment I got to make. He's going to try and duck into the trees to try and avoid the fate he's bound to get anyway. And Castaway is there to secure that for him. Ultimately 4 for 2, but what an amazing fight that was.
I'm not sure where Kunshin disappeared to in that fight. He was there, and then I think he remnanted back to base and just said, cheers, team. Have a good fun, and that's going to be Rax. He has picked up that Dagon. But unfortunately, not the best item for being able to save your mid set of racks.
What's the rationale behind Dagon? Or is he just having fun at this point?
I think it's a mixture of fun, and it's a mixture of the fact that they are not the most tanky heroes in the world. And at the moment, WG haven't got any BKBs because they're playing with that sort of confident, almost cocky nature that you can punish in sometimes where you go, oh, we actually don't need BKBs to win this game. In which case, if you get in a high-level Dagon, you can start pumping those things out. It's a significant amount of damage. You know, suddenly a support's dead. Suddenly, you know, Castaway gets pinged out by a Dagon, and that can turn a fight. So I'm not against it. I mean, probably not the best. I mean, Octarine, I think, would obviously be a better choice just in general for an Ember Spirit, the flaming magical Ember Spirit, but it's definitely not the worst, I would say.
It's got some rationale behind it at the very least. It's not 100% troll, but I'm pretty sure that there is an element of troll in there as Levy's actually going to spot out Castaway, who drops very low and immediately goes down. Precious Petunia walks away with the kill as they knew that they would be skulking about the Rosh Pit. Now the invis comes through from Whelp. It's not going to be enough. Levy dunks him down and tells him to sit out for the next 46 seconds. They can see Whelp, actually, yes. Beautifully done. But it's not going to be enough to catch her. She's very, very quick on her feet, and she manages to get on out. Does WG go for a split push here to try and alleviate the pressure onto the mid lane, or do they just not care about Tier 1?
I think they just don't care about Tier 1.
They don't need to care, do they?
They split, yeah, they don't need to care. It's Tier 1 at 32 minutes into the game.
Yes,
so they
have it.
Yeah, Santo and Whelp will head on to the bottom lane, which is going to force a reaction, because if Santo decides to put down some wards here, and Mythic are taking a mid tower, that's not the best course of action. You don't want to lose your Tier 3s, and Chidori has found Precious Petunia here, does throw off the Shivers to show them down in the meantime, and the Doom, so that's a lot.
Yeah, he didn't know that Levy was there. Levy immediately making himself known. trying to buy the time. Oh, that arrow nearly connecting in max range. What a shot, but it's actually going to be only the reveal for Kunshan to go on in and pick up yet another kill. What is going on? Team Mythic are actually taking
Santo.
down so much.
Santo, what do you do here, Fred? This is not your side of the map. Yeah.
And he's going to lose a gem if he does go down.
This is going to be huge, and he is going to go down. I don't think they have enough damage here, and that's a gem at true sight.
This is Mega8 madness, the top-seeded team.
Game 1,
Just
Wilson.
dying on game 1, yes! Dying to Mythic, who's supposed to be the lowest-seeded team.
Game 1, we are 20 to 24. We have the arguably
They're bringing
the
it back.
Mythic Gaming are bringing it back. So the net worth and experience still not looking.
It's not looking promising, but damn, it's better than it was.
It's better than it was, man. And they're doing what they need to do. They're taking the fights. Kunshan finally getting involved has picked up a Dagon level 3. So that Dagon's getting pretty serious now with those 2 sets of kills that he's picked up. And suddenly, you know, WOG, they're running out of vision on the map. They've got just one ward sitting here by the Rosh pit. Other than that, they are pretty much sightless on the map. Meanwhile, the Mythic Gaming has decided to re-put their Valley ward up here on the high ground, and they do have some sight to the Rosh pit as well. Right? And so they know exactly what's going on. And because of this, they're now able to push some advances, get some towers, do some things. It's brilliant to see.
Yeah, this is a team actually working together, which is, believe it or not, a rare sight. As they're taking that tier 2 bottom, though, they might want to take an eye towards Rosh. Where the hell is the side of WOG? Well, if they're not killing you, they're taking an objective, and in this case, it's the Aegis of the Immortal followed by the cheese.
Yeah.
Apparently, nobody was hungry. Nope, Whelp is hungry. There we go.
Oh, I was about to say, there we go.
There
That's
is,
cheese.
That is
there we
cheese.
go. That's a pretty good item. You can sell it for 500 gold if you're really poor.
Now,
Otherwise,
I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is the critical moment.
Santo, it's bottom lane.
They're actually going to smoke up and go look for a little bit of trouble, the side of Mythic Gaming. Do you think they'll find it? And if they do, is that really the right move? They're going to find Castaway. They're going to find Castaway. They do find Castaway. Castaway drops very low. Does still have Aegis, so they're going to have to kill him twice. No! He's got himself plenty of survivability. Does come back on up. They've used everything to take him down the first time. B's trying to do what he can with his ulti. He's got plenty of time, though. Whelp getting a kill on the sidelines onto BEE, but Castaway is down. Levy's walked away with the kill on Castaway yet again. Whelp now trying to make a hasty escape. Reveals the fact that he's jumped on in to the sidelines here. I don't think he's in any serious trouble, but damn it, yet again. What is WRG doing?
I think they're having a nice feed at this point, Wilson. I'm not going to lie to you. They are having a
What
bit
is
of...
he doing?
Castaway was sitting there by himself without his team and an Aegis. If you want to throw away your advantage, Dota kids, if you want to, and those of you learning out here, that's pretty much how you do it, right? You take your second life and you give it to the enemy team. And this is going to allow Mythic Gaming to most likely at least try put some more pressure on the map. And as you can see, WOG are now the ones that are starting to close in. If you look at their stance at the map at the moment, they're all sitting in that dire jungle.
Yeah. And again, that's amazing because they're definitely still in the lead. 15,000 net worth. Usually when one team has 15,000 net worth, the other team is going, well, there's nothing I can do. This is over. But they're not. This is why I love the boys of Mythic Gaming. They've got so much heart.
Yeah.
And they remind me of the old WRG when they were banging heads up against the big blue dragon of BVD. Now, they are the big blue dragon, and we'll see what happens.
Well, big sort of reddish dragon, right? They're the fire dragon. But
Some sort of white pachyderm.
Yes. Some sort of white pachyderm. Yeah, sure. Let's call them that. The white pachyderms of SA Dota are WRG, and are in a little bit of a tense situation. They're going to go for a 5-man smoke here.
All right,
try
things
to
have
do a
gotten
wraparound.
serious now.
Yeah.
Now they've stopped playing around. They're going to go for a smoke and try wrap around and find themselves a pick-off. Whether or not they'll be successful, at best case scenario, they'll pick up Sargon, which is actually kind of useful, to be entirely honest, since the rock does play quite a big part. There it is, blinking on in. There's the snowball. Is it going to be enough? It does catch him, and Castaway walks away with the kill.
Yeah, and they have to be careful. Yeah, Levy, yeah, there we
Yeah,
go. Yeah,
yeah,
that's not the safe
don't-
place, my friend.
That is not a nice place to be. Precious Petunia, in the meantime, gets a good static link off. They're going to do a world of damage to this bottom tower. They've said it. I've had enough. That's it. Oh, immediately Doomed will be the Ember Spirit, and that will be enough to keep him out of the fight for a good long time. Chidawi finally coming out with a BKB, and Levy jumps in, but he doesn't manage to attain anyone, and he eventually just goes down. CM to follow him in the grave, and the bottom racks finally falls for the side of WRG.
And unfortunately, there are no buybacks on anyone besides the Ember Spirit. So it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do anything else here. And I think that is,
I think that
unfortunately, going to be
solidifies it.
game, but a good game, Wilson.
It really, really was, you know. Kunshin trying to get out, not really going to happen. Does immediately get hexed up, does buy back immediately as well to try and help the Razor. Razor's a dead man, though, so there's really nothing he can do. Although, maybe he does get a counter kill. There it is. It's in the form of Chidawi going down with the very, very mobile Kunshin. Castaway still whacking away towards the top lane, though. There goes the arrow. It's not going to be enough. Doesn't connect onto anything. In the meantime, Kunshin now getting ganged upon. Schlinks drops low. Is he going to survive? No, he doesn't. So at least he gets the turnaround kill. As at last, the GG is called. And this game finally comes to a somber end.
Somber. I don't think Mythic Gaming will be
a sober end.
a sober.
You know why sober?
end,
Because
sure.
I kind of feel like I'm getting drunk. How is White Rabbit Gaming losing this?
I mean, White Rabbit Gaming looking a little bit questionable, but sure. But all props to Mythic Gaming. They played a really good game.
Absolutely, they did. Wow, they did such a fantastic job. And I mean, let's just quickly take a gander across our statistics here on the scoreboard. Not surprisingly, let's take a look at the GPM. Well, WRG, this is not their best game by any means whatsoever. 670, 690 GPM, not exactly fantastic. Certainly seen a lot better from Castaway and Chidawi.
Yeah, I mean, and considering that Chidawi went a Midas, Castaway obviously had some significant stacks for him in the early game, which is why he's pretty good at the whole GPM game.
Yeah.
But, Kunshin and Precious Petunia, Precious Petunia on the Razor, who's not a particularly flash farming hero either, they were only a couple of thousand net worth behind. I mean, he was sitting at 18k net worth. Kunshin was also sitting at 16k. But, the two blade mails ended up, as I said, making a huge difference in that game.
Absolutely. I mean, what do you do when your opposing team is hitting way harder than you are? Well, by blade mail. And hope that they can deal the damage back to themselves.
Just if you look at the team XP, team XP and net worth here,
Yeah.
if I feel if Kunshin started to get involved around this 15-minute mark here, the Ember Spirit, because you could see he could easily kill off Santo and Schlinks. That if they started to just get involved a little bit earlier, that's when Mythic might have actually been able to take this game.
Yeah, maybe. So we've certainly given the panel quite a lot to think about. And on that note, I know Halbert has got a big smile on his face. Halbert, what do you and your boys think?
Well, I mean, you mentioned that this might be a case of 2019 being the year of Mythic. That boded pretty well, but I gotta say, I feel like this was somewhat more of a WG misplay, maybe not showing enough respect.
Yeah, definitely was the case. The main thing about how WRG did this game, you could see just from a minute go that they knew they thought they were going to win, and they played like they were going to win. They could have won at 26 minutes if they were playing carefully. 24 minutes in, you're going high ground already. In most games in Dota nowadays, by the time, if you can conceivably take high ground at 24, very difficult to lose the game thereafter. So they were there, they decided to screw around a little bit, got punished, but it ended up not really mattering. But that really did delay the game for them. We saw afterwards, immediately after that fight, Razor suddenly emerged with the Shiva's Guard, and then Kunshin now was doing a lot more damage on his Ember Spirit, and they were like, hey, maybe there's a chance for them, but then the game doesn't really go that way. They still played a little bit sloppily afterwards, WRG. It's not like they played perfectly thereafter, but we could still see that regardless of them not playing fully seriously, there's a reason why they're the best, and Mythic Gaming had to contend with that and lost.
So let's go through it a little bit in chronology here. So the first thing to me that I found interesting was the offlane Doom. getting quite a bit out of his lane. I know you, gents, were also suggesting that the tri-lane wasn't operating well against it.
I mean, I thought like the matchup, the fact that Razor was against Doom is already a good matchup, right? I think his item build was weird. Like I've seen safe lane Razors always they go Windlace, and then you get boost from the side shop, and then you can just run him out of lane all the time, and he can't outrun you. And then the fact that I thought it was going well top lane, like they were doing okay tri lane versus tri lane, and then there was like this moment where WG were like, okay, screw this. We're like doing okay. I'm gonna go mid with my supports, and then what Mythic supports just stay top. They just did nothing. They didn't do anything. Well, the CM like just sat there. He could have just been stacking. He could have him and Rasta. I would have liked if him and Rasta maybe just smoked behind the tower, right? When they thought the lane was in a safe place for their axe, and then they go mid and try and gang SF. Like just do anything. It just looked like they weren't doing anything. I just wanted to see, and even if it failed, I just wanted to see something.
Yeah. Like I said, in the build-up, that's been White Rabbit Gaming's problem, is that their support's kind of like, they have these like brain freezes at times when the lane looks okay at first glance, and then you realize, but what are they actually doing? They're not stacking, they're not setting up wards, they're not, maybe making a rotation. They're not physically doing anything except basically placing their bodies in lane to be seen. They're not going to be able to rotate anywhere to protect any sort of gank that you get off. And I mean, we were speaking during the game is also that like Kunshin wasn't doing terribly in lane, but the problem is like as soon as Schlinks rocks up, then Kunshin's basically just out of the lane entirely. He gets absolutely stomped from that point in terms of CS. But
yeah, he can't farm as quick as SF. It's a problem. Yeah.
So it's like horrible because he's now basically a 2v1. He can't farm as fast as SF, and SF's jungle is stacked 3 to 4 times already. So.
Well, another interesting thing to me as well is just the sort of over chasing of some of the players. I mean, we saw one. I think it was
Whelp.
Was Whelp. It was the longest chase I've seen in a while.
That's just classic Whelp. He does that kind of stuff so regularly.
Casually going into that.
But you can't not chase him. Like, there's a core Marana, this is an enemy safe laner. He's in your jungle. He's on low HP. Sure, it took the entire team to do it, but you can't not. Free gold on the table, and then they have to end up going for it. But then, like, the rest of the team of WRG is like, well, good luck, guys. We're just going to keep farming while you're doing this, and we'll have a 10k SF at 12 minutes in base, almost, basically. But like, what can you do at that point?
I mean, also the Doom, like the Doom kind of fell off. He wasn't very useful past about 25 minutes in because he had tons of farm, but he's not really going to do much outside of that. So, the problem was White Rabbit Gaming probably made that a little bit harder for themselves than they should have. The hero picks didn't help once Mythic had their tails up, and it's an unfortunate thing that happens.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the sort of game probably could have been handled better, but I'm quite interested to see what we actually caught up with Castaway himself from White Rabbit Gaming, and it would be interesting to see how he predicted this tournament would go. Wonder if he would have been surprised by these results.
The best Dota player in South Africa, sadly, I'd have to say it's Whelp. I think he plays very well, and his understanding of the game is very good. My top 3 heroes currently will probably be Invoker, I don't know, Queen of Pain, probably Alchemist. If we're gonna remove a hero from the hero pool, it'll definitely be Monkey King, because once hero gets Basher, you lose the game. Who do I think is going to win the Mega8 Dota Cup? I think it's going to be us. I think we're still at that point where we're very confident about our playstyle. I think we'll take it. I'm Travis Castaway Waters. I play for White Rabbit Gaming from Cape Town, and I play solo mid.
So definitely some interesting hero selections there from Castaway. Might be because that interview was done before the most recent patch.
Yes.
I was really considering letting it stay that way, so everyone was Alchemist, really? But obviously that was done beforehand. But talking about once again the WG lineup, the Mirana in the last game was quite interesting to me because we saw it move around the map quite a bit. Not quite what we anticipated it would do from our drafting phase.
I actually think he actually played quite poorly. If you think about it, he created a lot of space, but like only because a lot of the space created was kind of Mythic's fault, right? Like they let it, but like he actually played pretty poorly. Like I think he just said at some point top lane he was like screw it, I'm out. TP'd bot lane, and then he just ran around doing shenanigans, which is normal Shaw things, which Whelp is, that's what his name is. Like, I mean, he just does those kind of things. I think he felt confident. And then what actually led to the game being hard is the Doom was actually the top heavy hero, right? So Doom had all the farm. Part of him had like 15k net worth, which was like 7k less than the Doom. Obviously, Doom's in a farm faster, but it just seemed like part of him didn't have enough. I think he actually played poorly in that game, but I think he's just maybe not respecting his opponents.
I think Donnie's right. It felt like at a point, Wolf decided, I'm not the carry anymore, guys. And then collectively the team said, dude, just put arrows in the game. As long as there's arrows flying around, as long as we have Moonlight Shadow every now and then, you'll farm a camp in between your movements. But for the most part, they actually did. It sort of felt like he swapped roles. With Chidawi, I think Donnie's
Look
right
at
about
me.
that.
I'm the full position now.
That's just what happens sometimes, and I think it's part of the reason why we don't see more Marana is that you kind of have to. In the draft, we're talking about how this hero you kind of have to play it in a support capacity. It's not that great mid or safe lane, and this game we saw why. Like the hero wants to move around, but then if you put it mid or safe lane, you also need to farm. So imagine they didn't have a hero like Doom who can actually take over the farming role. If they had something like a Tidehunter, maybe it would have been. I think this game would have been much worse.
Just
Hey,
like
for us
something.
old school guys back here, I think Donnie was with me. Carry Tidehunter was a thing once.
Definitely. So it's even more of a thing now with the talents, right? He's got the 50 damage talent, and you get Echo Saber, and you just bash the people. You just hit them to death.
see, Tidehunter is a thing. We're gonna go there. That's oldies. We'll enjoy that. But I mean, look, you mentioned things were getting out of control for the side of Mythic. But at 25 minutes, WG, I think, pretty disrespectfully walked up the high ground, and Mythic's politely declined their offer to end the game and gave them a bit of a hiding. I'm curious, though, how does that affect WG going to the next matchup?
That's like, I mean, you're basically blowing cobwebs out there. It's like, okay, guys, let's just have a game to start us off. Warm-ups up for the tournament. The likelihood is the second game is going to be a lot more brutal for Mythic.
I don't think they're worried at all, honestly. I think they would like that. Probably a lot of fun, I'm sure, on TeamSpeak. I'm sure they weren't taking the game too seriously. And I think they had the win condition. They just had to either Doom Axe before we got a call-off or Doom Ember. And you saw at the end fight there when they went high ground, Doomed Ember, and then that was over. Like, they just went high ground, and there was no damage coming out, really.
Yeah. Also, they went a very interesting build on the SF this game. Like when we saw SF go for the Desolator, like Desolator Mansa, I think, was his build. Wasn't a Mansa, but definitely Desolator, one of his first.
Desolator is one of the first items.
So usually you don't necessarily see that on SFs because they're planning to go a little bit later. You want to be able to scale, but this game it was clear that they wanted to end the game right now. And when it was clear that that one push wouldn't be enough, they said, "Fine, guys, it will take a few more minutes, but we still know that we have the ability to just go into the base and destroy it instantly. If they want, as long as Axe doesn't get the two-man call on both the Doom as well as the SF, there's no way that they actually win full team fights. And we saw that for the majority of the game. If you can't get the perfect call in every situation, you just can't win. Yeah. At the last fight I think we saw, he got the call onto SF, but it didn't do anything. At that point, Doom's right next to him, hits him once on the funnel blade, he's stunned, and then 3 right clicks from SF, you're dead suddenly with that Desolator. So I think WRG it was very clear that they knew what they were doing. Even though they were clearly screwing around, it was also, they had a plan, they knew how to finish the game. Yeah. And game 2, as long as, if they just start at the end and say, all right, now we know how to end the game already, then I think we'll see a similar result.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that Mythic had a problem with was even during that small section where White Rabbit was sort of on the back foot, there was no way for Mythic to take any major objective. Yeah, they could get maybe the mid lane tower, but they couldn't take Rosh, they couldn't take any of the tier 2s. They had no way to actually force White Rabbit Gaming to make anything happen.
Well, all the same, I think we can also be a little bit surprised by the time it took WG to complete that matchup. And I think there's a little bit that you have to say is a complimentary towards Mythic Gaming. I mean, I think we can all agree once again, this is not a case of WG coming up with their finest drafts, taking it very seriously. It's more like, and I think we said during the picking phase, that we said, this is kind of like this team is just saying, what do I feel like playing? And then, Mythic trying to give it their all. But the fact of the matter is that it is in its own right a bit of an achievement to go almost 40 minutes against White Rabbit Gaming. I kind of think, though, we're going to see a different game here. I kind of feel like White Rabbit Gaming might come to this. Look, you guys, we've had our fun, you've had your fun, and now we're going to show you why we're the best in South Africa.
Yeah.
I think probably game 2, Mythic drafts better, because I also didn't really feel that it was their best showing in terms of the drafting phase from them. They felt really forced into having to go the way they did. Like that, the way they did the aggro try, didn't feel like they had any other options. And even when it came to the mid-game movement, I think they can do better in the draft. We'll probably see more of that, and then we'll see the same from
We're going to see it right now, in fact. The draft is, in fact, live. I'm going to jump straight into it. Let's see what the picks and bans are looking like. So, do we in fact have the first bans and picks still yet
probably
to come?
Tree ban again.
Tree is in fact going to be the first one in the end. No surprises again, guys. I think
No.
Tree definitely. Is this a totally called for first ban that we've seen time and time again?
I'd say Tree is probably a pretty great hero in this meta. Honestly, it's just overall pretty good. Like the fact that when you push towers, you have to commit to the tower, or you're just going to heal it to full HP. And the fact like there's not many lineups where you can just do that, right? It's like you can't. Like, what if the other team comes there with a few heroes and defends it, and then he's just healing it while the rest of the heroes are just farming and getting further ahead. So it's like you have to give a lot just to get something so simple as a tower.
Yeah, and like they changed it. I mean, they changed his punch from a stun to a root, which is like still pretty ridiculously strong.
I actually think it's much better because now, even if you have anti-mages co-ops, this is more time that you can't blink away, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
Although LC Abaddon, they kind of do the same thing. I was actually thinking that this LC hero is sort of supposed to do what Abaddon did in the previous patch, in terms of always having that perpetual debuff, just not the same with the healing. And we knew we'd see Lich.
I predicted the Abaddon pick with WG as well.
He did. Donnie did say.
This is some shit.
This is effectively the like old school South African hero, in my opinion. Lich is something that we always see. Interestingly enough, we've actually seen Lich in this patch already, so just for the South African circuit. So I guess something that the WRG guys in particular think is worthwhile. Also, though, I have to give a big shout out to Sargon here for these stats, but I just want to point something out, that Tree and Protector has a 70% pick a ban rate in the South African circuit since this last patch has been released. And interestingly enough, he has a 100% win rate.
I can't believe that.
How many games?
I was hoping no one would ask that.
The thing is, you're not going to give Treant away to any player that's even half capable of playing it.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It's basically Monkey King. You have to pick it ban at first phase every game. You can't really avoid it.
It's like good early. It's maybe not fantastic mid, but in late game you get a single overgrowth off, and like the whole enemy team is just buggered because they don't have BKBs at that point to help them out.
I'm really surprised that Mythic still chose to go for this Warlock after seeing Lich Abaddon. Like, they're gonna lose. I think they're gonna lose this laning phase pretty hard.
Yeah, like
with these heroes.
This White Rabbit lane is just picked to not lose the lane. I mean, it might be Abaddon Lich off lane.
I think you put Lich, like, you start Lich mid even. Like, you can pick a really weak mid laner now. You can start with, like, early, even if they have Puck or whatever, you can still start with Storm Spirit mid, put Lich there, get him that fast level 2, makes it a lot easier for yourself.
I think we theorycraft this as well, is the fact that because you get the additional creep wave, the creep in the middle lane, if you do in fact just start out with your Lich in mid lane, you're not only getting rid of one of the creeps' experience, but because you're able to do it so far back, you're getting like a huge advantage on your mid lane.
Yeah.
The catch is though that it's almost it's you can't keep doing it, right? Because the moment you leave the Lich in that lane, then all of a sudden you're negating that experience advantage, and you're probably suffering elsewhere on the map. But I do think it's the kind of thing that we could see in the offlane, definitely. We see these two heroes go together. Just, I mean, how irritating would it be, right? Abaddon is the sort of irritating offlaner of this last couple of months. And Abaddon sitting next to a Lich, I mean, I wouldn't want to be safe laning against it.
Abaddon's quite annoying against Legion Commander as well. I mean, Legion can, like, unless Legion or someone on his team builds Silver's Edge, like to disable his ulti buff, and he has to activate it himself. Like Abaddon can just run in front, and what are they gonna do? Like duel him? They can't duel him. They can't. Like he's just gonna hit people. He's gonna be very annoying.
He's like a tank that you can't actually fight in a fight. It's just a horrible.
They got to find a hero to deal with him.
They still need stun though right now in WRG. They don't have any control.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. That's a flaw in their draft so far.
They tend not to like Crystal Maiden, so I don't think they're gonna pick that. And I think they already have enough to dominate the lanes with.
I mean, they're probably going to look for a roamer, some kind of active support here. Maybe the Tusk again.
Tusk could be cool. Maybe Sand King. Speaking of Tusk, we didn't really see a lot of his impact in the first game, though.
Yeah, it was just that weird fight where Sargon just kind of ran away from him and allowed him to kill him.
So, I mean, let's go over the bans quickly. We haven't really spoken about them.
There's that control, I guess.
The Lifestealer, as well as the OD banned out, as well as the Ember Spirit and Venomance on the other side of the river. This is the purple strat now, right, boys?
Yeah.
Bane coming out from WG. What other purple heroes do we have left?
Enigma.
Sven's blue.
Enigma.
These are also kind of blue as well. It's like the darkish color strat.
Legion's like okay against Bane, right? Assuming
it's
only Legion doesn't, if Legion just doesn't get controlled, like it doesn't get slept or something, you can save. You can save
all the time.
It's actually really good.
I'm kind of surprised Mythic banned Lifestealer. I think this would have been really good in the lane versus Abaddon. It's one of the few heroes that you can actually bully the Abaddon with. But now Bane in the lineup as well. I mean, I don't think actually Bane even bothers going for the sleep potion. I think he goes go in Feeble, right? And then just make Legion's Commander's life hell, force us to have to overwhelming odds everything. And now without the shrines, you run out of regen soon enough, so you can do that. Maybe Mythic also probably need a little bit more team fight, because right now they have one way to start it off with Duel, and then follow up with the ultimate from Warlock. Maybe like Sand King, a hero that can also disrupt the channel from long range.
Do
What
they
you guys
play
think?
They
Sand
need
King,
they
though, is
need
the
a
only
strong safe laner, like to deal with this dual lane. They need like a TB or something, like with his meta. Like they need to do something. They like the level 1 and 2 is gonna be like the most important part of that lane, and then like I feel like they're just gonna run away with it. Like if they don't challenge them well enough.
Yeah, that Abaddon Lich is never going to die, so you need to get them out of the lane or force them to do something.
Burn their
'cause-
regen or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, do something, take advantage of the no shrine. They're really taking a long time here. Like, this is all the reserve time.
Undying.
Okay. Fight
this is
early,
team
fight
fight.
often.
I hope they
This
don't
is some
do a
heal.
trial lane against the dual lane. Like I hope that doesn't happen unless they completely own the dual lane. I think it's pretty bad. I hope they do like a
Okay.
Timbersaw.
Timbersaw.
Is this Timbersaw mid?
And they have like no control for that hero as well. They need to get control in the last 2 picks because Undying is pretty terrible against Timbersaw.
Legion's pretty good.
It can, it's okay, like, it's in the earlier portions of the game. Like, the decay can actually make Timbersaw's life a living hell before it has a lot of
Is he
high
going to see
HP.
the Timbersaw in lane though? Is the question.
Well, if he moves. Last game he didn't see
Yeah,
that, but
that's the problem.
So it's a Bane Timber safe lane and then those 2 off lane. Yeah.
Can I
Seems-
say as well, like a Kunjin Invoker sounds pretty interesting to me.
Is he a known invoker? Like, I don't know his
He's a
heroes.
decent invoker.
Is it? Is that his best hero? Like how, on a scale of like what's his best heroes? Is that his best hero?
I'd say probably about his 3rd best. I know
Yeah.
his Ember is very, very good when he can get it going.
Jug.
But his invoker is decent. I wouldn't say it's like top tier, but it's decent.
I don't know if you guys agree with me, but Invoker seems to be more to like the test. Like if you can play a strong Invoker, you're generally a good mid.
It's because Invoker basically does so many things. Like you can hard farm on it if you want to go that way. It's a lot of control as well. So like it's really you can find out whether the mid laner can do everything because you get a lot of mid laners that can basically ultra carry or they can do a lot of control. And if they can't do both, they're kind of like, okay, well, he can only play X amount of heroes. Then like you'll get guys that are fantastic on something like a TA, but because they can't control anything.
Legions they farm.
Safe lane Legion, I am not down for this.
I would have liked
Something
TB.
seems
I thought
very
TB
wrong.
was a good pick.
TV, I think, would be fine. The
Like
one
he would
thing,
own Timber. Like you would also own Timber if he didn't get controlled. Like he would.
Bat kind of owns Simba, though, in the lane, right?
But I mean they got.
Like, in the 1v1. Like, if they...
You've got
if
a
it's just-
Warlock Undying. I don't think
If it's just like Bane Timbersaw and then against the Bat Rider Undying, I think the Bat lane wins
mean-
in that situation.
the only way I can see this working is if Mythic just runs it the whole time.
but doesn't
their
it feel
lanes are very
incomplete?
dependent. They need to do well in lanes.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like you have to get in White Rabbit's face with this kind of lineup. Any sort of like delay, you're just going to get run over. White Rabbit's just going to sit on their lanes. Abaddon Lich not going to care about it. Timbersaw's going to find farm, and then as soon as Timber's up and running, what are you doing to him at that stage? Because like Legion, yeah, maybe you can duel him, but that's not really going to help you a whole bunch. White Rabbit's last pick is probably going to just counter most of Mythic's draft right now.
White Rabbits still need physical damage, though. They don't have anything to hit with.
I mean, your Legion commands generally less of like.
Sven's
sorry,
open.
you're, in,
They got all the magic damage. They don't need it. They got spell amp. They got spell amp from Undying. Oh, not spell amp, damage amp. I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I mean, they've got all this. I'm just hoping like Legion needs to get a lot of farm. Okay, not a lot. He's got to get like his core items up. So does Blatz. And then they just run at them. They just run at them with Dirt and Warlock and invoke and Sunstrike or join whenever he's ready.
Yeah.
I think it'll like if that works out, if like Bat gets his blink early, Legion gets his blink early, or whatever item is going to go first. I hope he doesn't go armlet. I think it'll be fun.
What do you think of last pick, Dev? For the carry?
you know, I don't feel like we've seen enough Sven, to be perfectly honest. But it isn't like. I mean, it's just there, right? Like, where do you put? You can mid lane the Timbersaw, for example, and then run the Sven. But
I like Troll as well. Good against Undying Tombstone. I think they need a way to get rid of that.
Queen of Club.
Okay, safe lane
Wow,
Timber.
this is a great game for Quab.
Yeah,
safe
this is
lane
going to be pretty
Timber.
interesting. It's not the kind of draft thing we used to see. I mean, from both these sides, it just feels like it's missing that like super carry almost type hero that you generally see in a game from either side. But this is not the first time we've seen Timbersaw run in that sort of one position, assuming that is the case.
It's been happening a lot more lately in these last couple of weeks, I think. I think we actually might see it become the baseline. And then you have like this super core hero in the mid lane that can get a lot of farm and scale well into the late game, sort of like Quab. It's kind of hard this game though for Mythic as well because they don't have any easy ways to set up for Sunstrikes for the Invoker.
Well, the
and
lasso. I mean, I think Mythic's draft is actually good, assuming Legion Commander gets Silver's Edge. That's a key item in this game for against Timbersaw and Abaddon, right? And then Batrider just does a lot in fights. Like, they've got a lot of control for Queen of Pain, I think, or just the Bats, I guess.
They just have Bat in
The
LC.
problem is like they need somebody here to probably pick up some form of silence because otherwise Queen of Pain and Timbersaw, you're never going to stop them. They don't have enough.
I mean, he's pretty
lockdown.
soft. Queen is soft, right? After one lasso, I think he dies. Unless he gets, like,
Yeah.
shielded. Okay, they've got a Bat, what do you call it? Counter. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
also true.
Well, let's
gonna be hard,
let's
it's gonna be
let's
hard.
toss this back over to our casters. Once again, we'll be Wilson and Demonic. I'm sure you guys are salivating at the chance to chat about this one. Wilson, how's it going over there?
Pretty damn good, and my hands are warmed up. I think they've warmed up their hands as well. Guys, what I do want to point out is White Rabbit Gaming, also last weekend, was also banning out the Kotl. Each and every game, first phase ban. Why?
Because Kotl is now the one of the most terrifying heroes in Dota.
Yeah.
Wasn't it because Energy kept beating them with Coddle, or getting really close to beating them, and because Energy's only like they're really good at Coddle and Earth Spirit, so like they just ban it.
I mean, Kottle's one of the best carries in the game. I don't know what
Kottle's
you're talking about.
There we
Just be
go, there we go.
aggressive, y'all.
I mean,
Who needs carries? Have you just seen our draft? We don't need
I
carries.
can find
Kottle's
no
the best.
better time to tap out and leave this to you guys than right now. So, gentlemen, take it away.
All right, so without any further ado, we all know these names and love them. Levy will be picking up that Legion Commander. In the meantime, Sargon will be picking up that Warlock for the second time. Out towards the mid lane, same story as usual. BE will be picking up the Undying. I do love this hero. I was very happy to see him drafted. Precious Fortuna will be picking up that Batrider. And last but certainly not least, the man who everyone's got to keep their eyes very well peeled on. It's Kunshun on the Invoker.
And on the side of WRG, we're going to have Schlinks taking up the role of that Bane in the bottom lane. He's going to be helping out Welp here, who's going to be taking up the off lane role in this game by the looks of things. Castaway on one of his self-confessed 3 best heroes, the Queen of Pain, is going to be in that mid lane, hoping to have as good a time as he did last game. Santo taking up the role of that Lich, got some wards on him, got some tangos. He's ready to do the supporting that he needs to do. And Chidoe, armed with that start shield and 4 tangos, he is ready to hit things all game on that Abaddon.
Yep, and he's going to have a damn good time if the draft is anything to go by. Then again, we do have a few interesting perspectives to keep an eye on. Obviously, that Invoker is going to be absolutely critical and key. Precious Fortuna, though, might be walking into a spot of trouble looking for that bounty rune, and it will be denied to him. Welp is very happy to pick up that extra little bit of gold and XP there.
Yeah, and
Sorry, just gold.
just a little bit of gold. Well, you know, no XP unfortunately on the first.
Not anymore.
Set, not anymore on the first set of bounties. So he's going to be happy with that. 3 bounty runes going to WRG, and just a side note, if you can hear the excitement, that is because on the other stream at the moment,
Yep.
Bravado Gaming are 1 game down to Sinister 5.
Just say that again.
Bravado Gaming are 1 game down.
Now
Wilson.
say it like you mean it, baby.
Bravado Gaming!
Down 1 game to Sin 5. Another unlikely scenario is unfolding on Stream B. If you do want to check it out, go on ahead and check Jabba out. Here's a lot of fun. But in the interim, don't leave just yet, because Precious Petunia is doing a little bit of nonsense and silly business here to WRG. And WRG is actually doing seriously well. Usually, Precious Petunia, he does have 5-6 stacks now of Sticky Napalm. Every right click is going to really, really hurt.
Manages to get up to 7. If they can, I mean, if Welp comes forward here, yeah, he has to wait for these stacks, because otherwise that's death. Anything generally above 3 or 4 stacks is problem town. But you know, Precious Petunia is going to be doing okay in this lane. I don't think he'd want Undying to stay around here too much, just because he'd want to get his levels as quickly as possible. But you know, Undying should be good to throw some decay spam and at least keep these guys a little bit worried about actually going in onto Precious Petunia, which will allow him in turn to get that farm.
Look, this is quite a vicious combination. You've got the strength sap from Decay combining with the stack damage of the Sticky Napalm. So it's not like WG are on holiday here in Game 2. And it certainly is the case also in the top lane with Sargon and his dear, dear friend Levy, both taking quite a chunk out of the top lane as well. So Chidawi, he's going to be comfortable, but so is Levy, I feel.
Yeah, I
Plenty
mean,
of heal, plenty of sustain.
yeah, they're both armed to the teeth with regen and start shields galore. So, and Levy has taken that early point in the moment of courage, and that has done significant damage to Chidawi. So Chidawi, this is probably not the best situation for Chidawi. He's going to be a little bit... Ooh, that is really close, actually. They are flirting with that first blood. Chidawi is on 0 mana, 0 health, and is deciding to stick around in this lane.
But with that shield, it's really difficult for them to secure themselves the kill. That tick damage from Shadowwood, really important for securing it for them. I don't see this ending all too well. Welp, in the meantime, on the note of will be picking up that Invis rune. Doubt he's going to do anything too spectacular with it, being at level 2. But it's some way of hiding. In the interim, though, take a look at that net worth. With 2 minutes in, no kills on the deck, 1,000 net worth in the favor of WRG.
Yeah, the big winner in this laning stage so far, Castaway, sitting at 20 and 12 in that mid lane. And just look how aggressive he's currently playing against Kunshin. Just making sure that he's got that 2 points in the Shadow Strike in the early, which is generally what you see from Queens of Pain. And getting as far up into that Invoker's business as you possibly can in the early game just allows him to secure this farm. And don't forget with...
Schlenks. Oh, he does actually find him. There is a Brain Sap available. It's only 90 damage at level 1, but it is damn good damage. Nope, the TP is there from BEE, and immediately Schlenks knows that his ganking days are over here for now, but he will be able to deny a little bit of mana from BEE at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, it's also important to remember that denies give you experience now. So the fact that he's 25 and 16 has put him at level 5. Kunshin only sitting at level 3.5. There's already over a level and a half difference between the two mid laners at 4 minutes into the game, which is definitely not good for Kunshin. And the fact that Wenger's that BE has to come out here and I keep on wanting to call him Wenger. BE has come here and with his Wenger out in the mid lane and stealing that experience, it's just not, that's not ideal for Kunshin.
Certainly not the optimal situation, but at very least it secures himself his life, although Castaway's going to jump on in, do a little bit more damage. Suddenly Sargon makes an appearance in the mid lane. And again, Castaway is stuck to sitting back and just watching the damage tick away and do what he can, but they're still winning it. They are still winning it here in the mid lane, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Castaway is certainly keeping Mythic very, very busy here. A far more active game than the previous one.
You know what? Just looking at what's happening so far in the lanes, I actually think Mythic would be okay with this. Sure, Kunshin's not doing the best in the mid lane, but you've got Precious Petunia in the bottom lane on the Batrider, who's sitting at 16 and 4, so he's ahead of his fellow offlaner in.
Dying in trouble here. Yes, he is.
Oh, yes, he is.
Sorry, he's going to get slept up. Well, sidles on up next to him, shakes his bottom and says, "You're mine, baby." First blood secured for the boys of WRG at 5 minutes 13. A very different game than what we saw in game 1. Far less thick and fast, but certainly just as entertaining.
Yeah, and Chidori, now that he has hit his level 4 and has just able to hit Levi over and over again. Levi's actually been doing really well, sitting at 23 CS in this top lane. So he's going to be pretty happy with what's happened in this early game. The fact that he hasn't had to go off into the jungle quite just yet, and at least made it to the 5-minute shrine. So he's going to be able to get that and at least stay in lane for the meantime. But I'm surprised that took 5 minutes for first blood, actually.
And this is the problem with having the Bane. It's just, go sleep. I know you're trying to kill someone, but I just don't care. Oh, wait for it. Ooh, that's a world of damage coming through from BE. And Precious Petunia, they are going for the kill. 8 stacks, it's going to be enough. And Schlinks can't sleep his way out of this. He's going to have to live through this nightmare as BEE charges on, trying to find himself the kill. Doesn't have the creeps around to secure the final little tick of damage, even though there were 2 stacks of decay available on him. Welp is now back in business, and BE is going to have to step very, very fast if, apparently Welp doesn't care, so BE
and in response, the combination of Castaway and Santo on the Lich took down Kunshin in the mid, which is not good for that Invoker. Tragic. He hasn't even started his Midas at 6 minutes into the game, sitting with just these boots and a null talisman, so definitely is going to need some help to get himself in the right direction. And they're trying to do what they can here in the mid lane. But unfortunately, Quapverse Invoker, when the Quapverse managed to get this much of an advantage, now sitting almost at level 8 to the level 4 of Kunshin. I mean, that's savage, man.
Yeah, certainly. It's by no means an easy time for Kunshin. And we kind of expected it, I guess, you and I. Still, they're going to have to look to the other lanes to try and pull out a miracle. Now 2.3 net worth difference. It's not the biggest net worth difference in the world, but at 7 minutes, it is quite considerable. Certainly considerable to start taking a look at the net worth graph. And no surprise, top 3, all WRG.
Yeah, I mean, they're having the early game that they sort of want to at the moment. Santa?
Santa didn't know that he could be spotted there because Sargon just quietly said, do you want to drop a quick little nuke here? Nope. Okay, Castaway coming on in, trying to get the counter kill. Conscience trying to get on out. Not going to make it. Did try so beautifully. And now Sargon going for another deny. Can he do it the second time? And my word, what a time to pause. He's going for it again, though. Do you think he can make it?
Can he go 3 for 3?
Anybody, yeah, anybody on stream right now, if you can predict this correctly, give us
My 5 rand's down,
my
Wilson.
5 rand is yours if you get it right, baby.
He's gonna die to the neutrals, I believe.
I don't know, it's a quad. With this, if there wasn't the pause, yes. Now with the pause, nah.
Sargon's got 72 HP. The Quap is currently hitting for 90. So if we take into armor, it might be enough to kill him. With one hit.
The big problem is
He's only got 5 armor. So how much?
the big problem is the ancient creeps are hitting Castaway.
This is true.
So I think Sargon has met his end.
Oh dear.
Finally at the hands of WRG. Unless WRG feels like leaving him.
Well, I don't feel Castaway has ever shown us mercy like that in his life. So I don't really feel like that's going to be some. He wants this kill.
He does.
He wants it.
He certainly deserves it.
He does certainly deserve it. Oh man, that juking in the trees by Kunshan, I'm still having a giggle at that.
You can run wherever you like. You're still going to hear my screams, baby.
You can run as much as you want from Travis. He will. Castaway, he will find you.
Yeah, good old Castaway.
And,
Good old reliable.
And I think for the Invoker at least, he is going to be able to get back into this game once the other 4 heroes of Mythic Gaming actually band together and start doing some work. Once you've got the Bat Rider with the Blink Dagger, he's sitting at 1,600 gold now at the moment.
Is this really a full protect 1 strat though?
I mean, this is not a...
Sit back and let, you know, I know you can't sit back and let the Invoker farm, but is that really the way to victory here?
I think at the very least, you need to get that Invoker, his Midas, and a couple of levels in the bank, just to get... Once you have the Sunstrike up, I mean, he can contribute to kills at the moment. I mean, he's only level 5 compared to the level 9 of the Queen of Pain.
So level 5, let's see if the 5 rand's going to be enough. Sargon!
Oh,
down
damn
he goes.
it.
Castaway takes away the final line, right click. Sargon does not get the deny he's been looking for.
And I'm 5 rand poorer.
Yes, you are, but it's okay. I'll buy you a lollipop.
Oh, excellent.
We're certainly having a lot of fun here.
Wenger, he's in trouble in the bottom lane. Unfortunately, getting sourced out by Welp and Schlinks, and he's going to get sent home in a body bag, unfortunately.
And he certainly didn't call this game in a body bag, so he's not looking all that confident. Difficult game for an Undying here. There's a lot of stats trading. He's not going to find the farm he's going to need for something like an Agnum Scepter to really bring him powerful. And they're certainly not aggressive enough to capitalize on the Undying here at the side of Guntran and friends.
And that's also just one of the things is that if you pick an Undying, you want to fight. Eh? I mean, that's generally you have to fight. Sure, they've given him a couple of better answers in the form of his talents to at least take him a little bit further away. Kunshan maybe in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, they do manage to get at least the cold snap off with Castaway. With that Arcane Rune, is feeling plenty tanky. Does have an ulti here, plus a level 4, but he's deciding not to go for it in the meantime. But
is he worried about Sargon? I don't think he should be, or he could be. I'm not entirely convinced that he's worried.
Bottom lane again, Wenger. Yeah.
This is the problem with the Undying. Yeah, this is the problem with Undying. You're sitting 9 minutes in. How many kills have you got? A little bit far behind, my dear friend. And it's certainly not going up daisies for him. As an Undying, you have to be in the front lines, you have to be aggressive, and you have to get those kills early. He's only sitting with 1 kill and 3 deaths at this point. So he's certainly not going to steamroll the way you wish this hero would.
Yeah, it's reached the point that Undying needs to stop coming into this bottom lane, unless he's got friends with him. Because Welp has now reached the level. He's level 7. He has decided to go 4 into that reactive armor. So not going sort of any major DPS build, but even with the combination of Chakra, Timber Chain, and Whirling Death at level 1, that's still enough damage to take down a support Undying really easily, especially if they've got the Bane hiding out there as well.
Yeah, certainly. So BE going towards the top lane, maybe seeing if you can do something with Chidawi. Try fiddle the side of WRG towards the top lane instead. Banging it on up with
Kunshan.
what's going on now?
Oh no. He's flirting with death here, and I'm not sure that he's actually aware of it.
I think he feels it between the cheeks. He's moving as though he knows something.
There's definitely a little bit of knaping, I feel, somewhere. He's just feeling a little bit uncomfortable sitting well behind his tower.
He probably spotted the Bane coming on in from this ward over here. Not entirely sure if they're going to walk away with this. Nah, I don't think so. Very well positioned now.
Yep.
No.
So, no kill there. Kunshan using that sixth sense to his advantage to actually stay alive. And Schlinks is still sitting around here, sitting at level 5. And does actually have a Tome of Knowledge in the bank, so should be getting that level 6 sometime in the very near future. And Kunshan should actually be picking up his Midas sometime soon as well, which is really big for them.
Yeah, goodness, Jadawi is getting actually quite large. Second on the net worth, almost 4K net worth at the moment. Only 1,100 behind Castaway. And he is definitely becoming a threat towards the bottom lane, though. A bigger threat looms as Batrider sleeps. In comes the ulti, though, from Sargon, trying to save Precious Petunia with everything he can. Nice heal coming through from BE, keeping him alive for a little bit longer. Oh, cheeky little flame break coming through, but it's not going to be enough. Whelp is on the chase, and he's not giving up. He does walk away with the 1 kill. BE now in a spot of trouble, out of mana. He's going to be the next one down as Castaway jumps on into the fight. Sargon now with little left to say. Out comes the Sunstrike, but that is not going to be enough. Whelp stays alive, and it's a 3-for-0 trade in the end, despite their very best efforts of the side of Mythic Gaming. WRG 9 for 2 at 12 minutes.
Yeah, this is looking a little bit worrying for Mythic, but they did show signs of life in the previous game after looking a little bit bad. Invoker does have that Midas now, so they've space created essentially. You lose 3 heroes, you at least get
That's a high price to pay.
and Levi at least on his way to that Blink Dagger, but Todoi. The thing is, once Todoi has had enough levels, Levi can't really stay here too much because Todoi is just going to hit him to death and continue to do so quite easily. I mean, they're sitting behind the T1 tower here, haven't even taken that tower yet, and he's just free farming. I mean, what do you do against this thing at this stage?
There's very little, between little and nothing really that you can do. You've got that passive you've got to worry about. It's also activatable, so I mean, we're talking about some of the best players here, if not the best SA esports players for Dota. And it's always going to be a very difficult answer.
I suppose this is one option.
Disabling what?
You get the Batrider, you get a Blink Dagger, but unfortunately the Batrider is currently, Castaway is just currently styling all over the mid lane. Kunshan going down unfortunately again, but Bat has actually shown off his Blink Dagger, so now they are fully aware that this Bat is ready to blink in on someone. That's probably not what you wanted to do for your first Blink Dagger reveal. I actually thought they were going to go on top lane. The Bat did make his way up here, but then decided to sort of float towards the middle lane and ended up doing nothing instead. So perhaps a little bit disappointing, but he still has a sentry here and that Blink Dagger. So I really feel they need to make a move on at least something here, whether it be Whelp, Santo. I mean, any kill here at this stage is a good one for Mythic Gaming.
They do need something, some sort of a Hail Mary. The graph certainly reflects it as we are now at 9.3 net worth difference. And so is the same with XP. WRG are slowly but surely making sure that they're nailing each and every nail into the coffin here. 1 net worth at a time. And they have to come up with an answer here. If you were sitting on the side of, oh dear, Kunshan's in a spot of trouble. He does manage to invis on out, though. In comes B. He goes in with the heal. A counter initiation. Sargon again dropping the rock for one person. Castaway, who does get immediately stunned up. He does actually go down. No, he doesn't. Oh my. In the meantime, Whelp walks on in and helps himself to Kunshan. And now Sargon in as well. Wanger? Nope, not really gonna happen. Schlinks trying to make a hasty escape, and he does. There's nothing that they can do. Well, still in the background there. No, Sargon Dota does actually manage to take him down with the final hit from his golem. What a messy engagement, but goodness me. I really thought that Queen of Pain was gone.
How did he survive? He had the tick and fatal bonds. Oh, Precious.
Yeah, he's going to go for a defensive pull. Doesn't want to pull him up onto the cliff. but that doesn't matter. It is Castaway. It is a Queen of Pain. She does have the mobility to catch up and jump over cliffs and so on and so forth. Another use of the stick. Isn't enough? No! 182 gold. Sorry, correction. 348 gold. Going the way of Castaway for that cheeky little pick-off in the end.
And he's deciding to actually go for Lincoln Sphere. First item, obviously just to stop that duel and the bats from happening, which is they're two of their major initiations. Really good item in this game actually. So I actually enjoy that Lincoln's pickup from him. And unfortunately, things are just falling a little bit too far behind here at the moment for Mythic Gaming. I feel like they need to make some. I mean, that was their big play, but unfortunately, without their ultimates up, like the Batrider and the Warlock, oh dear.
Oh, and they even deny the ward before killing him.
That's BM. That's just bad manners. Oh.
He worked so hard to get that ward down.
Yeah. He worked so hard to afford that sentry, I think,
Yep.
this poor Undying.
Yeah,
And
he's poorer than the poorest of poor, and that's all I really am going to say about it. Now, let's talk about Levy a bit. He's just got his blink. Is this going to be the moment when Mythic Gaming can do something about the swarming tide of the side of WOG?
Oh dear. Precious Petunia actually does get a kill. So it does use that Blink Dagger and hasn't used his ultimates. So managing to keep that Flaming Lasso actually could be huge here.
They are losing towers, though.
They are losing map space, which for a teamfight orientated side like this that needs to be able to taking teamfights on your terms. I mean, sure, high ground is I suppose your term, but not really the term that you want, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You want to be fighting and taking objectives. So and doing that from your base is really difficult at 17 minutes into the game. But I suppose at this stage you have to sit back, maybe wait for your ultimates to come up again. They've got their 5 ultimates. They can't see WOG on the map, which means most likely they're doing what they've done every time you can't see WOG on the map. But they're in the rush pits, Wilson.
We're taking a rush pit. It's really that simple. You don't see them, you know they're more or less there. Well, first rush is free, I guess. And Sargon just trying to, again, get what he can from wards. Is he going to pay the price? No. I think rush is a far better idea. Unless Whelp can do something and try catch up. He goes out for the first Timber Chain. Is he going to be able to catch him on the second? Yes, they do spot him out. Sargon making a hasty escape. Is he? Nah, he's a very dead man. And he's going to kiss his buttocks and his demons goodbye for this next push.
Shame, he's not even worth 200 gold at this point. Sargon feeling the wrath of Whelp's early game against him.
He's worth a fair amount of experience at least.
I mean, yeah, but being worth experience and not gold is not a good thing. You know what I mean, Wilson? It's like a constellation prize.
Sargon certainly taking it well. These guys have one hell of a sense of humor. So the high ground pushes the call, and it quite rightly is so. Chidawi sitting there and yet to go down, still has his borrowed time. Castaway with the Aegis of the Immortal and the Lincoln Sphere. I hope they spot it out and don't waste anything too significant onto Castaway there. Well, and Chidawi just sit there whacking the tower up. Good enough. They did spot it out. There's the duel. It's a good enough initiation. In comes the Lich ulti. It's only going to bounce twice. Not quite good enough. WRG now getting wrapped up by the Batrider. Batrider immediately ultied up by Schlinks. He's going to be the next guy down. And in the front line, Sargon now dropping low. No rock to really speak of, as that's the end of that. Kunchun is now the next man down. Down goes BEE, and that is a good GG.
Yeah, I mean, just a beautiful showing from WOG here, picking some very heavy early team fights, getting the laning stage that they wanted. I mean, they had all 3 of their cores sitting at the top of the net worth by 10 minutes. You have all the items that you need. You had the Abaddon, who had the Solo Crest, he had the Vlads, your Bane had an Urn, you had Whelp that had the Hood of Defiance. You had all those team fight items that just nullify that everything that Mythic Gaming was bringing to the table.
Yep.
So, I mean, and that just makes it so much harder to fight into this. And unfortunately, having your Undying sitting at 1 for 7, Levi sitting at 0 for 1, they just had no impact this game, unfortunately.
This game lasted less than 20 minutes. That's certainly the fastest one so far. And I mean, it's well deserved. Look at the GPM. That'll tell you all you really need to know. Take a look at the graphs, the player net worth. Look at how much he skyrockets. 11,000.
Yeah, that is a man that knows how to hit creeps and to hit them well, Wilson.
Yeah,
because
well, I think it was farming heroes at the end there. But this is when this is a glimpse of what WRG do when they're playing seriously.
yeah,
Game 1, they were kind of playing around, I feel, and they kind of, I don't know.
it was clowny.
It was
yeah.
clowny.
It was clowny.
It's exactly how you describe that top lane.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so that's pretty much what WRG is capable of.
Well, I mean, what a great first series. I'm perfectly happy. Mythic Gaming go down to the lower bracket, obviously, but they've still got plenty of life left in them, I'm sure. And
Did you see how much?
and now we've got even more exciting Dota coming out today. I'm excited.
Yep, so don't go anywhere. And the man who's got the plan on the panel will be with us very shortly. In the interim, though, I do want to take a look at the item progression. Just look how many more things, just basic things, just within the first 10 minutes of the game, WRG walked away with.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the thing that sunk it. It didn't even really come down to kills. It was a quiet game in general, I feel.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just they managed to win their lanes. If you win all 3 of your lanes, generally you win a Dota game.
Win
and
lanes, win
WG showed. Yeah, I mean that's my astute analysis of this game. Win your lanes, win the game.
Yep, very, very, very easy. Still, a job that isn't easy is the job that Halbert has, and he's waiting for you back at the panel. So, without any further ado, my dear friend, take it away.
Thanks very much, Wilson. I do think that in the end, this was kind of the game 1 we expected, but in game 2, gentlemen, I guess the last summaries probably are in order.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that like we were saying, that is pretty much what's going to happen if you stuff up the laning stage. They had a decent draft, but lanes. I think the way they chose to lane was a bit of a stuff up.
The lanes had to go well. Like as Wilson said, they lost all 3 lanes. I mean, like it's not, they didn't just lose the lanes. They lost them pretty hard. You saw mid, Cop was owning. Like I don't know, it's like it's just too hard to come back from that. It's like Timber was causing so much havoc with his farm. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And there was also like a ray of hope. I think what made it worse is that was a ray of hope in the bottom lane with the Batrider Undying lane versus the Bane Timber lane. At the beginning, I thought, yeah, this could actually still work out. Like they could get a lot out of this, and they got a really good kill on AWP early. And I was like, great, this is how the game can go well for them. But then immediately afterwards, he comes back. Just sits in the lane, and their supports go missing. Undying, I think, went towards the middle. Suddenly, Batrider by himself can't really zone out the Timbersaw as much as he wants to. Welp has a fantastic time. I think he almost got 1 kill as soon as the Bane came back bottom. And then from there, every lane's lost. Team fights can't be taken, and then after that, the game basically becomes impossible.
I was talking to Snare, we were talking about bot lane, like, I think Bat just wasn't being aggressive enough at all, actually. We were talking about, like, he gets enough stickies, even if, Timber, like, Timber turns away, right? It doesn't matter, because if he has 5 or 4, Bat just chases him down.
Yeah.
And the fact that Dirge also wasn't there for the initial creep wave or 2, Bat burned through himself, he had less regen than them, right? And then it just seemed like they, like, for how strong their lane was, they weren't pushing their strengths
they weren't exploiting
enough.
it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, on other news, I mean, I think this game is pretty much, it was the one-sided affair we expected. Game 1 obviously gave us a little bit of hope, but game 2,
Reality.
WG reality. There we go. I like that. But there is something a little bit interesting happening over on Stream B. I'm not sure where we stand right at this moment, but Sinister 5, as I understand it, beat Bravado Gaming in the first matchup here in this best of 3. So from our panel for now, we're going to say goodbye to you. However, I do recommend you go over, check out Stream B as well, and see the result of Bravado Gaming versus Sinister 5, where Bravado are in fact on the back foot, at least as far as games in hand go. Otherwise, from us, we'll be back at 9 p.m. for some more action. I believe it'll be APG versus XTC. And our panel will start off at 8:30, and the other game going on Stream B at that time will be Energy versus XD. So until then, thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll see you soon.